felt it your entire life, that there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there. You can feel it.
Get up on out the bed and start to move your balls. Let's pick up a word in Solomon Jones. Word. You better wake up now.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on onWURD Radio. A little cloudy out today, man, but there's sunshine in my heart. I feel good this morning. I'm finally, this morning thing, Kawesa, is a whole different animal. For a couple of years I was gone and I was able to kind of sleep a little bit late, got comfortable with it. I can't do that now. And so I am getting a little bit more sleep over these first 4 days or so, and I feel a little bit better about myself. My eyes aren't quite as red. I feel okay this morning, Kawesa. What you think? What I need to do in order to get back into the swing of this morning thing? What I need to do?
Sleep.
That's all.
I never get enough of it. Even when I try to, I never get enough of it.
Yeah, it's a precious commodity.
It is.
It is a precious commodity. And see, you're a little younger than me. So you're going to be all right. I'm a little bit older than you. And, as you get old, your body begins to change. Your requirements begin to change. But, whereas maybe, 10 years ago, I might have tried to stay up real late.
Yeah.
I'm not even trying now. I'm like, bed, yeah, there it is.
Pillow.
You know what I mean? Loving it. I know somebody else who's happy this morning, Saudia Schuler. She owns a soul food restaurant in North Philadelphia, where my daughter has eaten a time or two. Schuler serves big portions with a side of hip-hop. She serves her community with a side of compassion. And in between, she does Christmas parties for kids, does giveaways in the community, and hosts the biggest prom send-offs the world has ever seen. The internet caught fire when Schuler gave her son a Dubai-themed prom send-off featuring foreign luxury cars, 3 tons of sands, and even a rented camel. There's just one problem. About $37,000 of the money Schuler used for those activities came from government benefit fraud. She collected the money in disability benefits she was not entitled to over a period of 4 years. Now, once it became clear that Schuler had stolen those government benefits, I believed that she was wrong. But I also understood that she had become a sort of Robin Hood, making dreams come true in a community that was more accustomed to nightmares. The judge saw it that way too. U.S. District Judge Juan Sanchez ordered the 44-year-old to serve 6 months house arrest, 3 years probation, restitution, and community service, calling her, quote, a force of good, uplifting people and not putting them down. Now, given that a Bucks County woman got no jail time yesterday, the same day that Schuler was sentenced, after that Bucks County woman killed her baby by feeding the baby breast milk with drugs in her system, I think Schuler's sentence is more than fair. She didn't take life. In fact, she gave it. She gave life to hope. She gave life to dreams. And hopefully when all this is over, she'll go back and give life to her community. We got a jam-packed show for you today on Wake Up with Word. Mayoral candidate Anthony Hardy Williams sits down for an interview. Congressman Dwight Evans joins us to talk about the contempt charges against Attorney General Bill Barr. Political commentator Jay McCalla on the political foolery happening in D.C. and beyond. And as always, we've got you, our listeners, calling in at 215-634-8065 or toll free 1-866-361-0900. You can hit us on Twitter and Instagram at onWURD, or you can hit me personally at Solomon Jones 1. And of course, you can watch us on Facebook Live at 4Word. But first, it's the big three, the news stories you need to know to kick off your day right here on Wake Up with Word. Story number one, President Trump asserts executive privilege in an effort to shield hidden portions of Bob Mueller's unredacted report and the evidence he collected from Congress. This is his first use of those secrecy powers as president, and it came right as the House Judiciary Committee is expected to vote to recommend the House of Representatives hold Attorney General Bill Barr in contempt. So they're trying to hide the Mueller report now, Kawesa.
You know what? I mean, what are you trying to hide, Trump? That's what I want to know. And really, you know, at the end of the day, I think that we already know what he's trying to hide.
Yeah.
We know.
The truth.
The truth.
You trying to hide the truth. Boy, don't you know the truth going to come out no matter what? Don't you understand how the truth operates? You know what I mean? Now, it's true. A lie can go around the world 3 times before the truth even get out of bed. That's true. You know what I'm saying? But eventually, the truth always comes out. No matter how much you try to hide it. This dude been hiding his whole life, 70 years. You cannot hide as president. Story number 2, the House Judiciary Committee is voting to hold Attorney General Bill Barr in contempt of Congress. And it's the first step of many that Democrats say they're willing to take as they continue investigating the Trump administration. Now, they did that yesterday. They took that vote. And so my question really is, what happens now? I've never seen anything like this. The Attorney General runs the whole criminal justice system, and now he is being held in contempt. So what do you do?
Yeah, I mean, I think personally, they need to. I don't know what happens after this, but at the end of the day, he's trying to protect Trump and not trying to protect the American people in the United States. And so I think that whatever happens, he needs to make sure that he's putting information forward that's going to be helpful to us and not the president.
He don't care about us.
I know he does.
He does not care about us, and that's the problem. And the thing with Bill Barr is this. Bill Barr has been the Attorney General before. He knows the job. He knows what he is supposed to be doing. You are not, as the Attorney General, the president's lawyer.
Right.
You are the people's representative. Right? You are there to run the criminal justice system, make sure it's not corrupt, make sure you're upholding the law, make sure you're protecting the people. You're not there to protect the president, unless, of course, the president is a criminal. Everybody got quiet. Story number 3. Story number 3. The numbers show that in 1985, Donald Trump reported losses of $46.1 million from his core businesses, largely casinos, hotels, and retail space in apartment buildings. They continued to lose money every year, totaling, get this, $1.17 billion in losses for the decade. How you lose $1.17 billion with a B? That's 9 zeros. How do you lose that much money? That's what I want to know. That's the first thing I want to know, right? First, how do you lose $1.17 billion? And then, how do you then not pay taxes for 8 to 10 years? This is the dude overseeing the tax system in the United States. A tax system, by the way, that, you know, locally, they will come and get you if you have not paid your taxes. They will come and put you in jail if you have not paid your taxes. In Philadelphia, they will come and get your property, put it up for sheriff sale if you have not paid your taxes. And so how in the world is the president of the United States, and I'm not going to stop saying it, how does this dude president when he don't pay taxes? I'm trying to figure. Kawesa, please help me.
I don't know. And every time I go to Atlantic City, my beautiful home state of New Jersey, and I look at those giant buildings, and there's no longer a nice neon sign up of Trump. It's just
the outline.
The outline.
All you see is the outline of it because they took the letters down. I realized that some years ago, and you can still see it.
You can still see it, and it looks horrible. Oh my goodness. And I don't know. And you'd also think that if you are not, you know, you're talking about make America great again and being all patriotic and whatnot, but you're not even putting back into the economy that you took from.
Come on, man. $1.17 billion. And then when he was called on it in a debate with Hillary Clinton, he said, you know, when she said, oh, you probably don't want the people to know you haven't paid taxes, he said, that makes me smart. I want to know what you think. How in the world do we sit by when we struggle? They take our money out of our paychecks before we even see it. How in the world do we as Americans sit by and watch Donald Trump be president when we know the man don't pay no taxes? I want to know what you think. Give us a call at 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. Donald Trump don't pay no taxes, y'all. I need to know what you think because to me, this is an outrage. I struggle to pay taxes, but I pay them, right? Because that is what we are supposed to do. That is the law. How are you going to be the top person in this country, the person running the whole system, and you don't pay no taxes? That's number one. The other thing I want to know about is this. Saudia Schuler, she was the Camel prom mom, right? A kid sent him on a $25,000 prom and spent money on renting 3 cars and bringing in tons of sand. And he had 3 dates, and he had 3 outfits, and he had 3 cars. And it was beautiful, and it got a whole lot of attention. And then she went on to do a bunch of things in the community, Christmas parties for the kids, sponsored proms for other kids, essay contests for the kids in the community, went on to do a whole lot in the community. But it turns out that she was taking government money that she should not have been taking. She was taking disability money knowing that she was not disabled to the tune of $37,000. Yesterday, a judge said, look, you are a force of good in your community. And I am not going to give you jail time. I'm going to give you probation. I'm going to give you house arrest. I'm going to give you community service. I'm going to give you restitution. And the first thing I thought, and it's a shame I thought like this, because I really thought that she might not get that kind of break. But the first thing that hit my mind, and I was like, that's a white woman's sentence. That's the first thing. I don't mean no harm, and I'm not trying to be mean. But normally what you see, and I think it's a just sentence, given what she was doing in her community, given that nobody was really hurt by it, and given that she now has to pay that money back, I'm cool with it. Because really, that's our money. That's tax money. For real, for real. So that money does need to be paid back. But she don't need to go to jail for that. And so what I'm wondering is what you think about that sentence. And would you like to see that kind of justice more, where the judge actually weighs everything about the person rather than just the color of their skin? What do you think about the sentence that was given to the Robin Hood of North Philly, Saudia Schuler? Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio, and let us know where you are on any of things we are talking about this morning. Let's go to line 1, WURD. Who's this? Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine.
Okay.
I just wanted to make the statement that the Republicans will do anything to hold on to power, and it's called white privilege. I don't care what you say. It's called white privilege. And I think that was good what the judge did for this lady, the North Philly Robin Hood, because look at the head office of the United States. The judge can't say anything to her because the president of the United States is full of it. So what can the judge say to her? Because if the judge was to say something to her, she could throw that back at him. Well, if you're going to get me, then get the president of the United States as well. Thank you, and have a blessed day.
All right, Greg, we appreciate your call this morning on WURD Radio. And, you know, this is what I'm looking at with Donald Trump, because what we've seen is a pattern of trying to hide everything. And if you are engaging in a pattern of trying to hide everything, then you're not an honest person. And so, I mean, is this where we are as a country where, and I know there are those, and even in the black community, there are those who agree with his policies, right? And if you agree with his policies, you are certainly free to do that. I'm not going to criticize you for that. But to have someone who is a habitual liar, to have someone whose first reaction to the truth coming out is to try to hide it, to have someone who does things to people and never apologizes, to have someone who has a trail of small businesses who he has ruined because he's gone into contracts with them and then reneged on those contracts and not paid them, or paid them pennies on a dollar. To have someone who literally does not pay taxes at the head of our system, I mean, where are we now? Where are we now as a country? I want to know what you think. Give me a call. Donald Trump, he doesn't pay taxes. What are we prepared to do about it? 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. I don't know. Maybe it's me. I'm outraged about it because there's a whole lot of money taken out of my check for taxes. You know what I'm saying? So you mean to tell me the guy at the head of the whole system don't pay nothing and they dogging me for, my little bit of money? I mean, really? Seriously? I want to know, what do you think? What should we do about it? 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. Let's go to Peter from West Oak Lane on line 1. Go ahead, Peter.
Hi, yeah. It seems to me if he illegally didn't pay taxes, the IRS should go after him and throw him in jail. But if the laws are such that he can take deductions where he doesn't have to pay taxes, if we don't like that, we got to change the law. So I have no problem with that if he legally took deductions as a real estate man. I don't understand this myself. Able not to pay, then that's our system. We don't like the laws that he used to not pay taxes. We got to change those laws.
Okay, Peter, let me ask you this.
If that was illegal, then he should be imprisoned.
Peter, let me ask you this. Do you pay taxes?
A lot.
Right. Now, do you have a problem with the person who runs the system not paying taxes? Do you have a problem with that? As somebody who pays taxes?
Not if he used our laws.
Come on, man.
To take those deductions. No, I have no problem if he used those laws. Was it illegal what he did?
Come on, Peter.
If it wasn't,
we don't know because we haven't seen his tax returns. We don't know. And he's trying to hide the tax return. So my question is this. If it was, in fact, legal for him to do that, why is he trying to hide the tax returns from us?
You know what I think?
What?
I think he's trying to hide it because he's embarrassed. He never made as much money as he told everybody he made.
Okay.
He's not as rich as he told people he's worth $10 billion. Maybe he's worth 1/10 of that, or even less. And he's embarrassed by that. That's what I think. But
that's what you think. So you, given the fact that you pay a lot of tax, and you like most of us, Peter, they take a lot of our money in tax, and we pay it because that's the law, and we know that if we don't pay it, we're going to jail, right?
That's right.
And you don't have a problem with the person running the system not paying taxes. I'm not talking about for 1 year. I'm talking about for like 8 to 10. You don't have a problem with that? You good with that?
Was that illegal? Was it against the law?
We don't know, but we'll find out, I guess.
He filed it. He filed those taxes. The IRS saw it. If it was against the law, they would have gotten him.
A lot of times, man, stuff gets through the cracks. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see.
If it was illegal, he should go to jail.
All right, Peter, thank you for your call, man. I appreciate your perspective this morning on WURD. Let's go to Herman from South Philly on line 2. Go ahead, Herman.
Hey, my take is that I don't think there's any problem here. And the reason is simple. When you take businesses, they usually pay less tax than private people. They collect the tax from the customer, and they just pay, something just extra, and just report, and just send the money they collected from the customer to the government. They don't pay that much compared to an individual.
8 to 10 years of no taxes, and you running the system. You don't have a problem with that. You good with that?
Hold on. Hello?
Yeah, I'm asking you a question. Okay. I mean, I heard what you said. Now I'm asking you a question.
Okay.
Are you good with him not paying taxes for 8 to 10 years?
Do we agree with that first?
Huh?
Do we agree with that first?
Do we agree with what? That businesses don't pay? Look.
No. They pay tax, but technically they pay less out of pocket compared to a private person.
And now they pay even less because a guy that didn't pay taxes for 8 to 10 years hooked up the system so that businesses pay even less. My question to you, I hear what you said. My question to you is, are you okay with the man running the tax system, taking your money, not paying taxes for 8 to 10 years? You cool with that?
And here's the answer. I'm not looking for a law for one person. I'm looking for a law for everybody.
All right, well, if it's the law for everybody, then none of us should have to pay taxes. That's my point.
Give me a chance, please.
I did. I heard you. You said that businesses don't pay a lot of taxes.
No,
I asked you, do you have...
Point. Let me talk about Donald Trump now.
Okay, go ahead. Very quickly.
Now, he said...
That is what you said, by the way, but go ahead.
I said something about business generally. I haven't said anything.
You said businesses don't pay a lot of taxes.
Yeah, and that's a fact, right? It's not Donald Trump, it's a fact.
It depends on the business.
Bottom line is they pay less than actual private. Out of your paycheck, you pay more percentage than what the business just collects from a customer and just, forward it to the government. But let's get to Donald Trump, please.
Okay, you got to hurry up, man. Come on.
Yeah, so the thing is, when they have the taxes there and it has, it's a law.
Uh-huh.
Even as a person, there's things that I can deduct, and they did the same thing for business. If they tell business, if you lose, we know that when a business loses, they don't pay much tax or they don't pay anything. So it's not a law for Donald Trump. And anytime you can take advantage of the law, you just put it on your side.
Okay, all right, man. I hear you. You saying the same thing over and over again, but the bottom line is, I don't care. Look, if you are running the system that taxes me and takes my money, the least you could do is pay taxes too. This dude didn't pay taxes for 8 to 10 years. Y'all call me like, oh, I'm cool with that. You pay taxes? So how is the person overseeing the system that takes your money not paying any money at all? That's not fair. We're going to go to break, and on the other side, we're going to continue to take your calls. I'm Solomon Jones. This is WURD. We'll be right back.
Listen to Word Radio on the go with the Word Radio app. Search for WURD in your favorite app store today and take us with you wherever you go. Stay connected to Word Radio, independent black media.
Hello, Philadelphia. This is Omar Sabir, and I'm asking you to vote on Tuesday, May 21st. People died for our right to vote. If you want better schools, if you want reduced crime, if you want an overall better quality of life, then vote. Your vote counts. Push 35 and it'll make you feel alive. Omar Sabir for City Commissioner on Tuesday, May 21st. Paid for by Citizens for Omar Sabir.
What's cheesy, topped with a fluffy egg and crisp applewood smoked bacon? Easy. McDonald's new $2 breakfast deal. For a limited time, get a flaky bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit for just $2. And if you're craving something savory and sweet, get a delicious bacon, egg, and cheese McGriddles for the same price. Hurry in and bite into this tasty deal any day of the week. Only at McDonald's. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal for a limited time only.
The Kimmel Center offers free arts education programs to schools across the region. Teaching artists visit classrooms to educate, engage, and inspire the next generation using creative learning experiences, and schools take trips to the Kimmel Center for live performances. The Kimmel Center is committed to educating Philadelphia's youth by providing access to quality arts. For more information, visit kimmelcenter.org. WordRadio.com.
Are you stressed from work and daily life? Are you lacking the confidence to become the person you want to be? Do you want to take your healthy lifestyle to the next level? If so, let's work together. Hello, I'm Helana, your resident self-care strategist. 14 years ago, I started my very own wellness journey, and since then have been able to help hundreds of people to regain control of their lives through yoga, meditation, and plant-based eating. If you want lasting lifestyle changes and to build healthy habits that will grow with you, text me your email address right now. I know you have your phone in your hand at 267-281-3890. Again, that's 267-281-3890. Text me your email address to receive your very own self-care guide.
Now, a traffic update on Word Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. 295 northbound jam Woodbury up to 42. An accident there being worked on. Southbound 295 also backed up into 42. 42 northbound, you're jammed there from 168 through 295. 55 jammed effort in the 42. Southbound 95, Cotman down through Girard. A jam westbound Vine, heavy 8th Street out through the Schuylkill Expressway. Schuylkill itself both ways, you're jammed east and westbound. Southbound Blue Ridge 476 north and Norristown through the Schuylkill. Heavy northbound delays off 95 through Media Swarthmore.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique, but you are not alone. MAD is here to help. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877.
more traffic information, log on to SingAlert.com. I'm Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
S'il vous plaît.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio,
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on WURD Radio, and we are back. You can, of course, watch us on Facebook at 4Word. We're going to go right back to the phones, 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in on the conversation. Let's go to Gamel on line 3. Good morning.
Good morning, Brother Solomon. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Listen, you mind if I digress? I want to change the subject a little bit because I just don't put a lot of energy in the, like you had said, the political foolishness and the politics. I want to talk about something, some grassroots, some solutions that we can deal with, that we can do to try to deal with some of the violence. I'm on the steering committee of the Black Male Community Council, and I want to thank you for having my brothers, Brother Stanley and Brother Kofi, on explaining a viable, workable solution. Well, what we're going to do to actually go out into the community to try to curtail some of the immediate situations that we go through when we walk in, stick the key in our doors, and have to come outside. We're seeing a lot of stuff, and we're experiencing a lot of violence. So I want to ask people to come out to our call-out at the onWURD Institute, which is located at 21st and Godfrey, and come out these elements. It's time that we move from punk to power and do something. We all know that there's a problem out there, but what else is black men supposed to do in terms of our main goals, which is to protect our women, elderly, and children, and provide a clean, safe environment for them to move about. I think that's what our creators would be pleased to have us to do. A lot of energy is spent on, like you said, the political foolishness and politics. And, it doesn't amaze me. To me, we done had 44 Trumps. If you look at our history, data, and statistics, the politics in this country has never favored a black agenda.
Well, here's the thing, Gamel, and I appreciate your call this morning. We had them on, we are certainly supporting what they are doing on Saturday, and so that's going to be at the Imhotep Charter School, and it is a call out. They are looking for 500 black men, and we support that wholeheartedly, man. And so we appreciate you calling us and reminding us that Brother Kofi Asante, along with others, are putting together that call out on Saturday, and we hope that we get 500 black men and more. So we're going to go back to the phone lines, and we're going to talk with Bobby from Southwest on line 1. Go ahead, Bobby.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is my question. Is Donald Trump a U.S. citizen?
Yep.
And if he's a U.S. citizen and working, you having to build business and he works, and states as you pay taxes on your income.
Yep.
I don't understand why they're still running around talking about impeaching him. Why don't they prosecute him for tax evasion?
Yeah, and I think that's why Congress is trying to get a look at the taxes. I think it's a number of things, man. I think it's looking to see if, in fact, what he did was legal. looking to see if the IRS maybe didn't catch something that they were supposed to, and then looking to see who he's doing business with and who he might be beholden to, who he got money from when he was supposedly losing $1.17 billion. How do you lose that much money and it raises no red flags?
Right. And why is it that all the, I'm saying all because I haven't read, but why is it that all the other persons who were president or ran for president released their tax information and Donald Trump refuses to release it? To me, that's not embarrassment. It's that I'm rich and I don't care syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
You have a good one.
All right. Thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. And, you know, I'm sorry. I can't. I cannot, because, you know, taxes is something, that's how this country runs. It runs on our money. It runs on all of us putting our money together and then electing people who decide how that money is going to be distributed. That's how the country runs. And, you know, you can talk about socialism and that. Well, that really, I mean, when you really think about it, that's everybody saying, okay, we're all going to put in a piece, right? And all of us are going to benefit, supposedly, from that piece. And that's why elections matter, because all of that money that we put in together, we get elected representatives who are supposed to decide how that money is spent, where that money goes. And that's why, you know, you talk about somebody that does not pay taxes, and yet he's got a scheme to change the census so that people who are not citizens of the United States are scared to answer the census. And what that does is it takes down the numbers in blue states, states that are not supporting him, and make sure that those states, based on those decreased numbers, get less money, less resources. All of that goes back to taxes. So you got a scheme to do that, and you don't even pay taxes yourself. And I actually had people call me and tell me they don't have a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, when you really think about it, and again, everybody's entitled to their opinion. But when you really think about it, this guy is in a position to be able to decide where your tax money goes. To be able to decide, okay, Congress not going to give me money to build a wall. Okay, well, I'm going to take money from the military and build a wall. I'm going to do an end around Congress when really that's not my role as an executive. Really, that's the role of the legislator. But I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to take this money and build a wall even though most of the people in the country don't want it. I'm going to change the census so that your state gets less money because your state didn't vote for me. And all of that goes back to taxes. That money, Kawesa, that's our taxes. You live in New Jersey. Mm-hmm. New Jersey is one of the states that comes up on the short end of the stick with the changes in the tax law that Donald Trump, who does not pay taxes, just made. Because the property taxes in New Jersey are high.
Yes.
And in states with higher property taxes, you now get less of a benefit in the federal tax laws because Donald Trump, who does not pay taxes, changed that law and hurt your state.
Mm-hmm. That's facts. No, I mean, definitely is. And every single person who I have talked to, including my mom as well, got less money back because of the changes in the tax laws. And a lot of people, especially a lot of middle class people, are banking on that money, you know, and you have plans. You're like, well, I'm going to take a trip, or I'm going to put back into the economy, or I'm going to, you know, put into my retirement or my kids' college funds and things like that. And thousands of dollars that people did not get because of these changes from someone, like you said, who's not paying taxes and has, you know, for 8 to 10, however many years, not even putting back into the system that he took from.
You don't pay taxes. You don't pay taxes, and you are deciding what happens with my tax dollars. That's what I have a problem with. Don't give me, oh, if it was legal, oh, well, companies pay less taxes. No. Just think about the fact that you have someone who does not pay taxes himself deciding on laws that make you get less back from the taxes that you pay. I mean, and for any of us to be like, oh, well, that's okay for him to do. Well, look, I got a bridge to sell you in Brooklyn. Matter of fact, let's go closer. I'll sell you to Ben Franklin right now because we are being taken for a ride. And if we can't see that, man, we all got a problem. All of us. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio and let us know where you are on any of these things we are talking about this morning. Of course, we are doing a series of interviews with people who are running for mayor here in the city of Philadelphia. And we interviewed yesterday Alan Butkovitz. Today we are going to be talking with Anthony Hardy Williams. He's a state senator, and he is running for mayor of the city of Philadelphia. He comes up in just a few minutes. And, of course, later on in the show, we're going to talk with our very own Jay McCalla about the political foolery going on in Washington, D.C. and beyond. And we're going to be talking with Congressman Dwight Evans because, yes, the House did hold the Attorney General of the United States in contempt. I want to know from Congressman Evans, what's next? Like, what are the options after that? Because I've never seen the Attorney General held in contempt of Congress. Do you lock him up like anybody else? What do you do? So we're going to hear from him about the next steps with that as well. But we also want to hear from you. So you can give us a call at 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. And let us know what it is you want to talk about on Wake Up with Word. Of course, some of you are weighing in on Facebook, including Crystal Pittman Jackson, who says, for someone innocent, he sure does hide a lot. Talking about Donald Trump. And that's my thing. What are you hiding? You know, because that makes me even more curious about, well, what is it that you don't want us to see? You know, maybe we need to just pull the covers off of it and see what it is, and then take action from there. Because if you're hiding your taxes, if you're hiding your relationships, if you're telling the people who work for you not to testify before Congress, if you're now trying to hide the Mueller report, saying, oh, well, I'm exerting executive privilege. Well, what is it? You said you were completely innocent. You said it exonerated you. You said there was no collusion. You said that you didn't have any relationships with the Russians, even though you had 16 people on your campaign talking to the Russians. You had all of this stuff that you said that, oh, there's no obstruction, there's no collusion. All right, well, if there's no obstruction and no collusion, let us see the report. What are you trying to hide? That is the question. We are going to go to break, and on the other side, we are going to talk with mayoral candidate Senator Anthony Hardy Williams right here on Wake Up with Word. I'm Solomon Jones. This is WURD. We'll be right back.
Listen to Word Radio on the go with the Word Radio app. Search for WURD in your favorite app store today and take us with you wherever you go. Stay connected to Word Radio, independent Black media.
Need a new mattress? Stop by to see Julian, the Mattress Man, located at 7421 Stenton Avenue. You deal directly with the owner, Julian, to ensure the best prices on name brand mattresses like Sealy, Posturepedic. Call 215-424-5550. That's 215-424-5550.
Support independent Black media and join the Forward movement now at 215-425-7875.
Or visit wordradio.com.
Hi, this is Sandra Dungy Glenn, Democratic candidate for City Council at Large on May 21st. You know me from WURD and my service on the school board and SRC. I'm running because Philadelphia is a city of haves and have-nots. We must do more to move families out of poverty and invest in people over property or profits. I hope to be the public servant to work with you, for you, and be available to you. Push number 77 for Sandra Dungy Glenn, City Council at Large. Paid for by Philly for Sandra Dungy Glenn, Trent Pettis, Treasurer.
Now, a Word Radio weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Brittany Ship.
A mild start to the morning today, but temperatures by the afternoon staying below average. Only a high of 63 degrees in Philadelphia with lots of clouds and a chance of a few isolated showers. As we go into tonight, more mild air moves through, more moisture ahead of a system that gets here, bringing us a chance of thunderstorms on your Friday afternoon and evening, but daytime highs tomorrow all the way up to 78 degrees. Changes on the way for the weekend, a dry Saturday, but temperatures drop back down to the mid-50s on Mother's Day with a chance of showers throughout most of the day. Make sure you download our NBC 10 app so you can take your weather forecast with you on the go.
Now, a traffic update.
onWURD Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Think It Up. Big jam around the area. Schuylkill Expressway both ways, east and westbound. A heavy ride. Westbound Vine, heavy from 8th Street out through the Schuylkill Expressway. Southbound 95, that jams Cotman down through Girard. Blue Route 476 southbound, that's jam Mid-County through the Schuylkill. Route 1 immediate Swampmore. Northbound 95 to Route 1 heavy. 295 northbound jam Woodbury Heights into 42. That crash cleared. Southbound also busy as you head into 42. 42 itself northbound near jam Blackwood Clementon through 295. 55 jammed approaching Deptford into 42 now this morning.
Hi, I'm Nick Jonas, and I'm here to tell you about Think It Up, a new initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join us at thinkitup.org.
For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. I'm Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on WURD Radio, and we are talking with our next guest as part of our series interviewing mayoral candidates here in the city of Philadelphia. He is a state senator, and he is running for mayor as a Democrat. Senator Anthony Hardy Williams, welcome to WURD.
Good morning, Solomon Jones.
I appreciate that. So you are running as a Democrat. You're running for the second time. Why are you running again for mayor of the city of Philadelphia?
Because things have gotten worse, not better. 3.5 years ago, I would have told you that, and I was very supportive of the administration, hopeful of the things that they were putting in place. I was very supportive, openly, vocally supportive, supportive in Harrisburg. And in the last 3.5 years, things just have been more lip service than substance. And for people of color, specifically listeners on this radio station, they are much worse, not a little bit worse. And the issues are obvious. You know, the level of violence in the city of Philadelphia, gentrification, people being forced out of their homes. Public schools still are incrementally better, not much better. And streets and potholes, all those things are just obvious to the everyday person. And frankly, at some point in time, I thought somebody else was going to run and challenge the person, but they never did, so I jumped in.
Mm-hmm. Is that why you started so late? Because there are those who say this can't be a serious campaign. It started late. There hasn't been serious fundraising. The mayor has a lot more money than either you or Alan Butkovitz. Why did you start so late? Why didn't you do a lot of fundraising in order to mount your challenge to the mayor?
So I would say that a couple of things. The best thing I didn't do was run the way I ran before. This campaign is probably the closest I've been to the ground in a long, long time, which is very good. Mm-hmm. So grassroots is the approach to the process. And with all due respect to those who've asked that, you know, the mayor, I guess, has in his campaign got, I don't know, $500,000, which is not a lot for an incumbent. Mm-hmm. And we've raised over $100,000 and some odd $1,000 in our period of time. So you're right. It's not a conventional campaign, and people who mention that, but that's not the substance of what people have asked me to do. And so running and participating late was as a response to people who continue to ask me, and I mean across the city of Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. And with limited resources, we've secured the endorsement of the black clergy, John Street, Brett Mendel, Philly Mag, the Preservation Society, Communications Workers of America, and a number of other endorsements. So we've made more than a dent in this election. And so while it is different than I've ever campaigned before for a long time, it still has been very effective in terms of getting people to the table who want to have a voice from the community. And I feel very comfortable, and I'm very proud of that.
Okay, so one of the key issues in the city of Philadelphia, and maybe I see it more than most because I volunteer in a school every week, mentoring young men. My kids both go to Philadelphia public schools. When I look at the school system, what I see is a school system that is under-resourced. A lot of that happens at the state level. Now, you've been in state government. What could you have done differently in order to make sure that Philadelphia had the funding from the state that it needed in order to properly fund our schools?
Well, I think, frankly, compared to anybody who's running for mayor and most members of the General Assembly, I've raised taxes multiple times. When Ed Rendell was governor, I supported his program 100%. Tom Wolf, all those initiations I've participated in. But what I am singular in is that when the schools were going to close in 2013, which people don't know, because frankly those who oppose me don't talk about it much. In 2013, when Michael Nutter was mayor and the schools were going to close because they were running out of money, he came to Harrisburg and he came to see me. It's my legislation that was introduced from the Senate that was ultimately part of a fiscal code that kept the schools open and still keep the schools open today. Now, that said, as mayor, I have to identify more resources to an underfunded system, and I have a plan without raising property taxes to do that. We just settled a contract in Philadelphia for the teachers, which we should have, but we didn't have a plan of how to fund it. And after this election is over, I'm very clear that people will be paying for that in some shape, way, or form. If it's a Tony Williams administration, it's about $50 million in PICA bonds, which are going to be, which will end in 3 years. That's all going to go towards public education. There's $100 million which we're paying for a judicial system, which we shouldn't be paying a penny for. We're going to sue the state, and people have challenged me on, well, how credible is that challenge to sue the state when we've done it before and lost? It was a Republican Supreme Court. Now it's a Democratic Supreme Court, and many Philadelphians made it a Democratic Supreme Court. So there is ample opportunity to generate revenue for the bottom line for Philadelphia School District, with a plan that really does resource it in the way it should be resourced.
We're talking with Senator Anthony Williams. He is running for mayor of the city of Philadelphia as a Democrat, challenging the incumbent Jim Kenney. And so when we look at what happened in 2013, let's talk about 2013, because 24 schools still closed permanently. Some of those buildings have been sold, some of them have not. One of them that is a huge issue is Germantown High School. And it's an eyesore, frankly, and it's been vacant. That, along with the elementary school, I believe it's Fulton Elementary in that area as well. What do we do to restore some of those resources in the community that left when those schools closed down?
So we have a huge stock of assets in terms of properties. The city does, as well as the school district. I'm not quite sure what the plan is or if there is a plan, but I'm quite clear there's a need for housing in Philadelphia across the board.
Yeah.
One population, teenagers today in Philadelphia, a significant portion of young people are homeless.
Yeah.
And going to school without a place to protect them. I'm not sure why we're not converting our schools and using either modest income grants, or if we're going to be, or if we're having an abatement process, or the state comes in with all these other kind of grants to support development. Why are we not doing that with the populations that need it? So the homeless population in Philadelphia, frankly, teachers, who are young teachers who are moving, that we need more of. Why are we not using the abatement process in a creative way to support them? So the fact that we have so much stock available shouldn't pretend to just waiting for a developer to arrive from New York. It should be about using creative ideas here locally to support that we actually have a need for in terms of housing.
Yeah. When we look at what's happening in Philadelphia with gentrification, a lot of that can be traced back to the tax abatement, that 10-year tax abatement that goes to anybody who does new construction or significant rehab. They only pay taxes on the land. They don't pay taxes on the improvement. And, of course, the improvement, the house or whatever building, that's what's worth the money. What do we do about the tax abatement? A lot of people in Philadelphia do not want it, think it's unfair. You got people with really expensive houses next to people who've been there for a long time, and the people with the really expensive houses are paying a lot less in taxes.
They're paying nothing.
Right. A lot of people think it's not fair. So what would you do about the tax abatement?
So we change it. There is a benefit to having an abatement that supports the growth of development. The question is who gets to use it. And so we want to use it for the highest need. And the highest need, frankly, are people who are working class folks who get nothing currently from the government. And so middle class housing, modest housing are areas that we can support a new type of an abatement. It may not be as long, it may not be as deep. The other part is we want to work with populations that do need it. I mentioned teachers. So, for instance, we need social workers, we need teachers. I'd love to bring more people back to Philadelphia, that police officers, that through an abatement process we can support them in Philadelphia, living in Philadelphia. While they're not paying, the real estate tax for 5 or 10 years, whatever it is, they will be spending their money in Philadelphia. And so we're clear that there's a need for it, but where it goes, who gets to use it, is a very significant issue. And by the way, the gentrification question, which you mentioned, is in part because of the abatement, but the real issue is the assessment, which has now come online. And frankly, every year they're receiving an increase in terms of your paying for your property because of an assessment, which many people don't understand or don't know about. The assessment process, not my comment, but it is broken. President Darrell Clark has legitimately challenged who runs the office, is the professional, how they do those assessments. And for me as mayor, we would stop that. We'd start over because the reality is we're over-assessing some people, under-assessing other people, and the person that we're over-assessing doesn't get the benefit of their revenue and their money back. And so we're clear that the gentrification process should never be a bad word. We do want people to move to Philadelphia. We just do not want people to be forced out of their properties, which is what's going on today.
Well, that's what's happening, and a lot of people in the black community rent. And so when the property values go up, the rents go up, the people are forced out. How do you protect renters? We talk a lot about homeowners, but the people who are really forced out are renters. How do you protect them as the neighborhoods change in Philadelphia?
Well, there's a few things. One, when it comes to, and by the way, we have a significant population of people of color, African Americans specifically, who do own houses.
Yeah.
Northwest, Germantown, West Philadelphia, et cetera. The renting population goes directly with the assessment. And it's what the market, as you would say, would bear.
Right.
And so if we decide that the assessment process is broken, we return to fixing it, then our expectation is that the market would not be driving up rents artificially. The other thing I'm going to say is this. The cost of labor in Philadelphia is 3 times that approximately in terms of the counties. Why? So for those of us who are committed to development in Philadelphia as well, when it comes to renters or homeowners or development period, the labor cost in Philadelphia is beyond those in the suburbs, and primarily the people who are doing the labor are not people of color. We're going to have a lot to say and do when it comes to that. So,
well, that goes to the building trades, though. I mean, and I just got to say it. They are mostly white, mostly male, mostly suburban, and they don't let black people in a lot of those skilled unions. And so the city at this point, under executive orders from consecutive mayors, has said we have to negotiate with building trade unions, right? When we have city-funded projects, stuff that's paid for with our money that we can't work on. Right. What will you do about that?
Well, we're not going to have project labor agreements. And for those who know what those are the agreements that you're mentioning.
Yeah.
Right? If we do not have proof that all Philadelphians are getting an opportunity to participate, that is a diversified workforce reflecting the fact that African Americans are the majority population in Philadelphia. I really get annoyed when people use us as a minority. If we're not a part of those numbers in significant ways, then we're not signing project labor agreements. And by the way, we will find a way to use organized and unionized labor to build properties. We just will not be using those who do not want to participate in a diversified program that allows all Philadelphians, and specifically young people graduating from high school who do qualify for the trades, but for some strange reason are not across the board. So we're going to start with that. We're going to challenge the cost of labor as it relates to those areas. And we're going to work productively. We're going to work productively with those who want to work productively with our administration.
Would you be willing to use non-union labor for any city-funded projects?
There is non-union labor working currently in Philadelphia. I'm not saying that that's necessarily my path, because I do want to sit down and we recognize the history of unions in my family's own background. They provide a wage that wasn't minimum wage. It allowed us to be supported. So we want to continue that. but we're not going to work against ourselves. We're not going to accept the fact that for generations, people come and see other people working in their neighborhoods while they're standing in the corner with, looking the inside out. That is not going to be supported, and we will not support it.
So, one of the things that happens is that the city says we are going to deal with this issue, and they put together what's called EOPs, right? These employment opportunity plans. I think that's what it stands for. But what it is these agreements that on these projects that are over a certain amount of money that are taxpayer funded, we're going to have X number of black people, X number of women, X number of Latinos. Like, these are the goals, right? I looked at those in fiscal year 2015, just as an example. 44% of those projects with those plans had 0 black people with the plans from the city. 0 black people, 0 Latinos, 0 women, 0 anything but white men. So if we have these things in place and it's still happening that way, what would you do different in terms of enforcing them making sure that black people are on these projects?
We actually had to support people who are black in Philadelphia. I didn't know that was
yeah, that's a thing.
That's what's all joking aside, it's funny when we have these conversations. We're going to get up there and they're going to accuse you and me of being racist. Period. Right? Mm-hmm. Even though if you were talking about a woman being discriminated against, a veteran being discriminated against, any organized group in America not being included, we would be on fire. What confuses me is that some black people are not on fire about this, right? This is un-American. What we're talking about today is un-American, right? So I don't apologize for the fact that research reveals that the imagery that we all want to talk about, progressiveness, when people ain't making progress, is not the law of Philadelphia. Forget the land, it's not the law of Philadelphia. These numbers are not made up. They're statistically accurate. Yeah. And so we have just decided we say things, but we don't do things. And by the way, when we don't do the things, nobody's going to check us on the doing things. And what that does is discourage people from voting because they're like, hey, they all corrupt. Okay? So that's what's going on right now. So for me, to the public who are listening to me, the things I've said, I've done. DAP, Diversity Apprenticeship Program. When we first talked about building stadiums in Philadelphia, that was a controversial conversation. Then Tom Ridge, a Republican governor. Johnny Butler was a secretary, I can't remember which department he was in, an African-American Republican. I negotiated with them and created a program that for 15, 20 years was successful in diversifying the trades. Dwight Evans, Congressman Dwight Evans, was state representative then and chairman of appropriations, was very supportive of that program when they ran out of the money to continue it. So you can push back. People expect us to make these demands. Right. They're just wondering why we're not making the demands. And so that is an absolute insult and failure in the conversation. And frankly, those who make commitments to do it should have been held accountable to a higher level in terms of that process. So for me, there will be someone who is cabinet level watching the development in Philadelphia and its inclusion and diversity.
Okay. All right. We are going to go to break, and we'll continue our conversation on the other side with Senator Anthony Hardy Williams. He is running for mayor of the city of Philadelphia. I'm Solomon Jones. This is WURD. We'll be right back.
EcoWord. Wednesdays on Reality Check with Charles Ellison.
4 p.m. till 7 p.m.
Right here on Word Radio.
And WordRadio.com.
1 in every 4 of us can't make ends meet. We can keep pre-K for our children and still get rid of that ridiculous soda tax. Drug injection sites are not safe, and someone gets killed almost every day in Philadelphia. From poverty to potholes, we can do better. I am Anthony Hardy Williams, and I have been listening to you.
We can move Philadelphia forward together. Vote Anthony Hardy Williams for mayor. Paid for by Williams for mayor.
Word family. Our friends at Amoroso's Baking Company are hiring right now. Amoroso's has been baking the delicious bread in our community for over 100 years, and they want you to join their team today. The old and the young love Amoroso's, and they're hiring right now. Check it out. They offer fair pay and provide health, dental, and prescription plans after 90 days of employment. Call Scott Drummond at 856-754-0360 or visit amorosos.com for details.
PECO has many ways to help you lower your energy usage and save money at home.
Here's one. When it comes time to replace your old appliances, make sure the new ones you buy are high efficiency Energy Star certified. You'll get a rebate from Pico and save on your monthly electric bill. You'll find a list of new appliance rebates at pico.com/rebates, or you can call 1-888-5-PICO-SAVE for all the details. Plus, find instant discounts on smart thermostats and energy saving light bulbs at pico.com/marketplace. There's free shipping on orders over $49.
Philadelphia is coming together to support Alan Dom for City Council, number 66 on the ballot. Listen to Philadelphia boxing legend Bernard Hopkins explain why he's standing with Alan Dom in the May 21st Democratic primary.
In all my championship fights, I train to go the distance. Alan Dom, he's going the distance for us, empowering more black entrepreneurs and business owners, helping former inmates get a fresh start, giving our kids access to the educational opportunities they deserve. Alan Dom is a champion who will always fight for us.
Alan Dom, number 66 on the ballot, donating his city council salary back to our schools, fighting to give Philadelphia's children a brighter future. On May 21st, stand with Bernard Hopkins. Vote Alan Dom for City Council, number 66 on the ballot.
Paid for by Dom for Council.
We are
Progressive and proud and interactive.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at onWURD. This is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Streaming live at wordradio.com.
You're waking up
with Word.
Hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on WURD Radio, and we are talking with Anthony Hardy Williams. He is running for mayor. This is part of our series of interviews with those who are running for mayor of the city of Philadelphia. And so I want to ask you about crime in the city of Philadelphia. It is something that affects the black community and the brown community just very much. And so what would you do about the homicides in Philadelphia that remain unsolved? We have a bad clearance rate at this point where a lot of these murders are not solved in the city of Philadelphia. What would you do as mayor to change that?
Change our policies. One is stop and frisk. Under any other name, should stop. It does not work and creates a divide between the community and the police department. Places like St. Louis are using technology, an app, so they track live shootings, but they also are working with the community to close the rate of where and who does what. And so you have to create an environment in which the community recognizes that a police officer should be respected, but the respect is also returned to them.
Right.
The second part is obviously we have to have plans that make sense. And so, you know, I survived, and you're a little bit younger, but I survived the gang era of the 70s.
Yeah.
In part because of crisis intervention. So Benny Swans and a variety of other community groups came out and they hired, you know, gang folks off the streets. We need to do the same thing. We need to hire people in neighborhoods that we know are quote-unquote shot callers participating, train them. They need behavioral health, they need sometimes drug addiction, they need training, but we need to put them as a part of a resource to deal with. And then we also need to use things like John Street's curfew centers. We also need to use technology, current technology that is being used in other places, drones, tracking devices that are part of understanding what is going on at the moment it occurs. We need to use crisis centers across the city of Philadelphia so that we can immediately, with law enforcement and someone who is a part of a crisis center, respond in those areas where violence is occurring. We have the ability, we have the knowledge, we have the wherewithal. We just have not committed the resources and the money to do that. The mayor recently, I guess, wrote out a plan of about $32 million, and from every community group that I know that I'm talking to, they're asked to go online and do something that's disrespectful to them, ask for a $500 to $2,500 grant. We should take the money and put it where we know the issues are and with the people that we know that work it. We are tired of spending money with Penn and Drexel to study the problem. We should be spending money with mothers in charge and people like that who know how to solve the problem.
So I had a man in here a couple days ago who I interviewed who had lost his son to violence 8 months ago. They still have not arrested the perpetrator, but he compared that case to the case of a Philadelphia chief inspector whose son was killed, and they arrested the person in a couple of days. How do we make sure that justice in these cases in Philadelphia is equal?
Well, there's an election for a reason, and what we sit by and get frustrated by is when you elect people who say things but don't do things, then you got to replace those people. Okay, in this case, you have a mayor who's saying things but not doing things. He has the whitest administration of anyone in the last 20 years. He has policies that have removed black contractors from the largest contracts in the city's history. He has stop and frisk continue even though he committed to doing it. He has a homicide rate he did not react to until an election cycle. You have to replace people who say one thing and do another. So the gentleman who came here who is grieving for his son understands that we have the ability to do it, we just haven't done it. And because there's no political will, nor frankly controversy doing it, then it will not be done. If the best predictor is current behavior, then you can guarantee yourself it gets worse or stays the same.
Okay, so let's talk about the soda tax, because there is currently an indictment. There is John Doherty, who is the head of the building trades, also runs the electricians union. Bobby Heenan, who is the council majority leader, both named in that indictment, both recorded in that indictment saying that they wanted to put the soda tax in place as something to get vengeance on the Teamsters. Now, this soda tax is in place. First of all, are you for or against this soda tax? And do you think this indictment and what it says should play a role in this election?
So I say this. I'm unequivocally supportive of pre-K. So everybody who keeps talking about the boogeyman and rebuild, I am very much supportive of pre-K. 4,000 children cost about $20 million a year. We booked a $360 million surplus. I think we can figure out how to support pre-K at its current condition and even growing. So no one should be concerned about who is running one of those centers, who is African American and is running a quality center, that they will be out of business. They will not. And in fact, it will flourish. We need about 17,000 spots to be filled in Philadelphia. The soda tax has collected $70 million, according to their numbers. $20 million is going towards pre-K. Where's the other money going towards? So it's clearly not a need for it. And I chuckled. I saw the Daily News Inquirer did an editorial in support of it today. They didn't mention, all they mentioned was the Beverage Association is in opposition to it. Tony Williams and Alan Buckovich are against it. No, the community is against it. The neighborhood's against it. It is the most regressive tax from anybody who says it's progressive in America. It overtaxes brown and black folks who are in poverty. We're half the people in poverty. That means you don't have a car. You can't get to the suburbs to shop for anything, let alone almond milk, juice, and other things that are taxed by it. I will tell you this. When the state was considering overturning it and preempting it, the mayor and I had a meeting in his office to discuss other ways to be supportive of the revenue. The governor was up for re-election. Many of the people he was calling were financial folks in the beverage industry, and they were complaining to him, like, why aren't you helping us with this? So I got called to a meeting. I went to his office. I sat down with Jim Engler, who I guess was his policy director at that time, himself, and John Doherty in that room. Now, I've told this to a few reporters who have not reported it. Apparently, the mayor has denied the meeting. It's a matter of record. It's on my schedule, which can't be changed. And
so
altered.
when let me get this straight. When they called you in to meet about the soda tax, it was yourself, the mayor, Jim Engler, and John Doherty in that room.
Correct. And
to meet about public policy, the soda tax.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. So, and he's denied it. So here's what I'm going to do. On the record, because it's a part of my schedule, so that's a fact. But right now it's his word versus my word. Take a lie detector test. I'll be happy to take a lie detector test. Ask the mayor to take a lie detector test. He was in the room. So, indictment or not, I'm not sure why he would be in a room on an issue of public policy if
Right.
he was not engaged on some substantive consideration of that policy.
So, again, though, I'm going to go back to the indictment. We only got about a minute left, but I'm going to go back to the indictment. Given what that indictment says, with John Doherty and Bobby Heenan talking about this as a means to do a personal vendetta against the Teamsters for running a commercial that they thought was insulting to Doherty, should that be an issue in this campaign?
Well, it's an issue who directs the policies of this administration. The last time I ran, I was beat up a lot regarding people who supported my campaign, who supported charter schools. Frankly, I didn't do a good job of explaining I've supported all public education initiatives, including keeping the schools open. That's my problem. But at no point did anybody challenge my independence. In this case, again, the person who advises the mayor on a consistent basis, and his number one advisor is John Doherty. And under indictment or not, the reality is no one should have that level of access to the mayor on a regular basis, advising him a variety of things. No one should be defining who gets those jobs. Reinhardt did a wonderful job illustrating and showing us who's getting these exempt jobs and positions.
Yeah.
It's disproportionate. His transition team did not look like who supported him in his election and who voted for him in his election. That is a direct result of taking information from a person, frankly, is not a part of that community. No disrespect to anybody involved, but the fact is that's just not his world that he lives in. That's not what he does on a daily basis. So you can't be mad at the fact that he's representing those that he thinks are important to him. What we should be mad about, though, is that the mayor decided that this person will advise him for 3.5 years and has led him down a road of where we have schools that don't work for many people of color in many communities, that the level of violence has risen to a historic level in Philadelphia. He only reacts in an election year. The level of community involvement and engagement is not reflective of a diverse community. His administration is, frankly, whiter, as I mentioned, than any other administration in the last 20 years. All those things are reflective of a person who's out of touch. And people think that I have an issue with him. No. I have an issue with his policies. I'm not running against him. I'm running for these people. And so when people ask me why I'm so passionate about it, why I'm engaged at this late level, why I'm running a grassroots campaign, it's because that's what people are saying. They just need to turn out and vote.
So my last question to you will be about this. What they are calling the opioid crisis, right? When it was us, it was the drug war, but they are now calling it the opioid crisis. Heroin, fentanyl, people are overdosing. In the city of Philadelphia in 2016, I believe, no, in 2017, there's 1,200 overdoses. In 2018, it was 1,100 overdoses. The mayor and his administration are supporting putting a safe injection site, one or more safe injection sites in the city of Philadelphia. Would that be your answer? And if not, what would be your answer on the opioid crisis?
So I am empathetic of anybody who's addicted to drugs, as I was empathetic when people were addicted to crack, when we didn't recognize we had an epidemic then, which has led to our opioid epidemic. That said, no, I would not be supportive of a safe injection site. I don't even understand why we're talking about it. A government-sponsored crack house would be shut down. A heroin or fentanyl government-sponsored house in Philadelphia would be shut down. The federal government would claim that we are liable in committing drug activities in the city of Philadelphia. Drug dealers would be supplying the drugs for people going into that place. The only thing that I've heard is, they're extending someone's life. That may be true, but they're not ending their addiction. Places where this is allowed, or national governments recognize it, allow it, provide the drug, administer the process, and are part of it. If that's what we were talking about, I'm not even sure I'd be supportive of that. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about just an idea that, polls well, quote unquote, and sounds progressive, but is irresponsible in its execution and its placement. Putting a drug house in Kensington when it already has an overrun to suggest all the drug addicts are coming from Kensington is just an absolute lie. So my plan would be, obviously, supporting more information pre-becoming involved in drugs. So that means a very aggressive process of educating our young children early on about the consequences of drugs. So that's prevention. Then if you're in the throes of being an addict, we all know that you receive it when you receive it. You can't predict when you're going to receive it. But we got to keep throwing out information for intervention. So that means all public access places that you interact with, libraries, schools, DHS, all those places should be a place where an addict, when they're interacting in their daily activities, has an opportunity to be hearing someone saying, and by the way, we're not saying, but by the way, providing information. So at that moment, if you decide, then we will take you from that space to a place that actually administers, recovery. And then the last part is we're clear that the statistics show that sometimes you just fall off the wagon. If you're an employee for Philadelphia and you're a part of our government, we should set an example. If you fall off the wagon, you will not lose your job. You just need to come back and get more help. And we will continue that as long as you're underemployed. We should set a model in Philadelphia that it is not a whimsical, one moment, one space, kind of solution. A safe injection site is comparable to just say no. There's no one moment that you deal with drug addiction in that person's life. It is early on, making sure they're aware of it before they get involved as a child. 2, if they are involved, supporting them, trying to come out. And then thirdly, supporting them as they go through the rest of their life as an addict. Anybody who's been an addict will tell you, I'm always an addict for the rest of my life. We need to be a part of that.
Okay. All right. That is Senator Anthony Hardy Williams. He is running for mayor of the city of Philadelphia. Senator Williams, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate you. And now we want to hear from you. The number is 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio and let us know where you are on any of these things we are talking about on this morning's show. We're going to go to Bobby from Southwest Philly. No, not Bobby. Okay, we're going to go. Okay, we're not. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to put out that number again, 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. On the other side of this break, we are going to be talking with... See, that's Senator Williams. I was trying to get him out, but certainly our Sixers are playing tonight, and we are all cheering for them, and that should be a prerequisite for whoever is going to be the mayor of Philadelphia, that they are cheering the Sixers on. So we are going to go to break, and on the other side, we are going to talk with Jay McCalla about the political foolery going on in Washington, D.C. and beyond. I'm Solomon Jones. This is WURD. We'll be right back.
Word Radio News Update
with Vincent Thompson.
Good morning. Here's the latest from the Word Radio Newsroom, 96.1 FM and 900 AM. Philadelphia's so-called prom mom will not be going to federal prison for Social Security fraud. Saudia Schuler made a name for herself worldwide by putting on lavish prom parties like a Black Panther-themed event last year. Schuler was convicted of applying for Social Security benefits, claiming she was disabled and couldn't work. However, she continued to run her own restaurant on North 22nd Street in North Philadelphia. A federal judge sentenced her to pay back the nearly $37,000 in benefits, do 100 hours of community service, and serve 3 years of probation and 6 months of house arrest. The U.S. Attorney for Eastern Pennsylvania was not happy with the sentence, saying Schuler, quote, is not a folk hero or neighborhood champion. She is an admitted thief who stole money from taxpayers in order to fund elaborate parties and enhance her own reputation, end quote. The PACO high-speed line is delaying implementation of its new overnight rail schedule amid criticism from riders and local officials who say they weren't told of the changes before they were made public. The new so-called night owl schedules would have taken effect on Monday, May 13th, but agency officials say that the changes would now be delayed until at least June 1st, giving them time to analyze feedback from the community. PACO plans to run fewer trains and close 7 stations in Philadelphia and southern New Jersey under the new overnight schedule that will also put a police officer on each train. They say the changes are motivated by safety concerns. The planned reduced schedule would eliminate many station stops from 1 to 4:30 a.m. on weekdays and from 2 to 4:30 a.m. on weekends. Ashland, Collingswood, Westmont, Haddonfield, and Camden City Hall stations in New Jersey, and 9th and 10th and Locust Streets, and 12th and 13th and Locust Street stations in Philadelphia would close during those hours as well. Riders complained that PACO should have given them advance notice of the changes, while elected leaders in some New Jersey towns said they opposed the station closures. Checking sports, the Sixers are playing a must-win game tonight against the Toronto Raptors in Game 6 of the NBA Eastern Conference semifinals. Toronto leads the series 3-2, and the Toronto win tonight means the Raptors advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. Sixers center Joel Embiid, who is suffering from an upper respiratory infection, is expected to play in tonight's game. If the Sixers win, they will play a Game 7 on Sunday in Toronto. Denver plays Portland tonight. Denver leads the series 3-2. The Milwaukee Bucks eliminated the Boston Celtics yesterday with a win. The Bucks won the series 4-1 and will play in the Eastern Conference Finals. And Golden State defeated Houston last night, and Golden State has a 3-2 lead in that Western Conference semifinal. Golden State star Kevin Durant strained his right calf during the third quarter of the victory, leaving his status uncertain for the remainder of the Western Conference semifinal. The LA Lakers and former Cleveland Cavaliers head coach Tyronn Lue have ended their talks on a deal as the Lakers appear to be moving on to another head coach candidate. Lue and his representatives declined the Lakers' offer of 3 years, $18 million. Lue was seeking a 5-year deal. And finally, whatever the Sixers season ends this year, assistant head coach Monty Williams will not be back with the team next year. Williams will be the new head coach of the Phoenix Suns. Williams replaces Igor Kosovos, who was fired after 1 year. Vincent Thompson, Word Radio News.
This is the Moravia Health Home Care Tip. The bond between a patient and their caregiver is very important. Empathy and attentiveness are crucial to fostering a trusting relationship with your loved one. When selecting a home care aide for your loved one to help with daily tasks such as cooking, cleaning, and companionship, inquire as to why the candidate chose caregiving as a profession. The right caregiver will have a good mix of professionalism and a nurturing, caring nature. Many families do not know, but the law now allows for a family member to be a paid home care worker. With training through Moravia Health, caring for your loved one directly just became easier. Moravia Health is dedicated to delivering quality care to patients in the comfort of their home. For more information about Moravia Health, call 215-717-8650. That's 215-717-8650. Or visit moraviahealth.com. Moravia Health, because there's no place like home.
This is Word Radio, independent black media.
My name is Dr. Kennard Herring, and I'm the owner of Nostalgic Eye Care. At Nostalgic Eye Care, we provide primary eye care, top-notch customer service, and designer eyewear with a personalized styling session. Our professional and friendly staff will create an experience that will last a lifetime. We are located at 6656 Germantown Avenue in Mount Airy, Philadelphia. Schedule your appointment today at 215-842-5939 or visit us online at nostalgiceyecare.com. We look forward to seeing you.
Anthony Kyriakakis is the fair voice we need on the Philadelphia Court of Common Pleas. As a defense attorney, Anthony volunteered for President Obama's Clemency Project. He has fought to end racial inequities in our justice system. Now, Anthony is running for judge. He's endorsed by the Democratic Party and received the Philadelphia Bar Association's highest rating. On May 21st, push button number 19 to vote for Democrat Anthony Kyriakakis. Paid for by Anthony Kyriakakis for judge.
This is Anthony Kyriakakis, and I approve this message.
Now, a Word Radio weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Brittany Ship.
A mild start to the morning today, but temperatures by the afternoon staying below average. Only a high of 63 degrees in Philadelphia with lots of clouds and a chance of a few isolated showers. As we go into tonight, more mild air moves through, more moisture ahead of a system that gets here, bringing us a chance of thunderstorms on your Friday afternoon and evening, but daytime highs tomorrow all the way up to 78 degrees. Changes on the way for the weekend, a dry Saturday, but temperatures drop back down to the mid-50s on Mother's Day with a chance of showers throughout most of the day. Make sure you download our NBC 10 app so you can take your weather forecast with you on the go.
Now, a traffic update
on Word Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by the podcast Monster, the Zodiac Killer. Still a big jam all around the area. Schuylkill Expressway eastbound side from 202 into Belmont. You're jammed again. The Boulevard to the Vine Expressway westbound past Yonkers South. Jammed again. Boulevard out to Belmont. Vine Expressway both ways heavy through Center City. Southbound 95 jammed up. Cotman Avenue down through Girard. Northbound Delays Airport up through Broad Street. Turnpike and the Blue Route, they remain heavy as well. 42 northbound, that's a jam. Blackwood Clementon through 295, 55 north of 47 now to 42, 295 both ways jammed into 42. Into Philadelphia, Ben Franklin Bridge are jammed up now nearly the length into the city this morning.
The idea of committing a crime and then calling up the police and bragging about it, that's a whole nother level of terror.
From the creators of Atlanta Monster comes Season 2. This is Monster, the Zodiac Killer. Listen and follow on the iHeartRadio app.
For more traffic information, log on to SingAlert.com. I'm Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on WURD Radio. I want to remind you that this hour is brought to you by Power. Philadelphians organize to witness, empower, and rebuild. For more information, visit powerinterfaith.org. So we just finished our interview with Senator Anthony Hardy Williams, and we'll be talking with Congressman Dwight Evans in just a sec, but wanted to get a call in very quickly with Miss Madeline Dunn from Overbrook. Good morning, Miss Dunn. How are you?
Good morning. I am fine, thank you.
That's good.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I was so pleased. Let me tell you that I am one of those people who literally dogged Anthony to do this because as it started to dribble in of what this person was not doing, what this person, it's almost like 45, but I don't have a number I want to call in yet. Who's supposed to be the mayor of the city of Philadelphia, who is the mayor of white supremacy in the city of Philadelphia. That's the way I see it. And at 85 and a half, I don't see any reason to hold my shots except to say to the people out there, if you're registered, I need you to come out to vote. I need you to call 10 people twice a week that you know and ask them would they please come out and vote. This is very important to us.
Yeah.
And you could put Philadelphia on the map. You know that. If we turn this vote out above 50%, oh, my God, it would be awesome. Thank you, Lord Jesus, for that thought. Thank you for allowing me to share it. Have a blessed day.
All right. You too, Miss Dunn. We appreciate you, and thank you so much for your call to WURD Radio. One of the things that I've been wondering about since yesterday is what happens after the House Judiciary Committee holds the Attorney General of the United States in contempt over the Mueller report. And so I gave a call to Congressman Dwight Evans, who represents the 2nd Congressional District, which represents parts of Philadelphia and Montgomery County. He's kind enough to join us this morning on WURD. Congressman Evans, good morning.
Good morning. Congratulations, Solomon.
Thank you.
Back the word. Appreciate that. It's the 3rd Congressional District.
The 3rd. Oh, that's right. They changed it.
Yeah, it's the 3rd Congressional.
Okay. Sorry about that. Yep. So that's the 3rd District. So Congressman Evans, so what happens now? So the House Judiciary Committee holds the Attorney General of the United States in contempt. What happens now?
Well, then what happens is there has to be a vote of the entire House, more than likely. Part of why I got to be at meeting at 9 o'clock to find out. We'll find out the next step. But we will be voting in the House. My view, that will pass. I will add my vote to the committee. That is a recommendation of the committee. Then the House has to vote. So it's the first step. But I think you have to be clear about what this is all about. This is really a question of accountability of the Attorney General and the President of the United States. And it centers around the Mueller report that the House Judiciary Committee is asking that they get a report not redacted with all those little black lines through the 400-plus pages. And I think they have earned it because at the end of the day, we are the body. You look at the Constitution, Article 1, we are co-equals to the executive branch. This president is not a king, and he cannot do what he wants to do. So at the end of the day, this is about accountability, no matter who the president is. So the next step is accountability. Where do we go from there? Committee, I sit on the Ways and Means Committee. We are trying to get the president to provide his tax returns. And we think that's important because we're having a hearing this morning at 10 o'clock, centered around what you call understanding the tax gap and the taxpayers' non-compliance. In our view, the president is in non-compliance, and there's no way for us to check this out unless he provides his tax returns. the chairman of this committee, Chairman Rich Neal, who's out of Massachusetts, has put in 2 letters requesting that the Internal Revenue, based on a 1924 law that says that tax returns shall be provided to us, not may, shall be. So with the House Judiciary Committee, the Ways and Means Committee, the Oversight Committee, and the Intelligence Committee, we are being vigilant in holding this president accountable, and he cannot do what he wants to do when he wants to do it.
Yeah.
I think that's important for your listening audience to understand that he has to be held accountable. He's not a king.
So in terms of the Attorney General, though, if the whole House votes out that we are going to hold the Attorney General in contempt, this guy is the top law enforcement officer in the United States. What then? I mean, does he get locked up?
You go to court.
Okay.
You take it to court once we do it, because this is about Congress inquiry responsibility. So we're going to be guarded of our jurisdiction. And the members, it was 24 to 16. It was 24 Democrats, 16 Republicans. And the part of it is, obviously I'm sorry that it's split along partisan line, because everybody should understand you put the country first. And these Republicans have gotten to a point where they think that this is King Donald Trump, and it doesn't work that way. So it is our job, those of us in Congress, to be very guarded of that responsibility under the Constitution. And that's what we plan on doing. We plan on not taking it for granted. And I know a lot of times, Solomon, within your listening audience, there is a feeling sometime of cynicism of, what does this mean? But I want you to understand something. What's most important about all of this is you cannot have a corrupt government. The Speaker of the House called the Attorney General committed a crime by lying to Congress. That's pretty powerful when the Speaker of the House calls out the Attorney General.
Yeah.
Because we should be talking about issues of infrastructure, addressing poverty, investing in fixing up our school buildings. But if you have a government with a president who we don't know exactly what is he doing on his tax returns, it's very clear that he should be called out and held accountable. And that's why we're having this hearing today on the Ways and Means. The chairman is on what you call tax compliance and the tax gap. Because the tax system, and on April the 15th, I, like you and others, paid our taxes.
Yep.
We want to make sure that he has paid his taxes and he's not manipulating the system. So it's important to not take that lightly, and we don't. So we're using all of the tools that we have available, the tools of subpoena, hearing, oversight, questioning, being on shows like yourself and others, and saying that, hey, we're not asleep at the switch. So I think that's important to understand, because sometimes people wonder, well, what's the Democrats doing? Well, we just voted for a contempt resolution in a committee that's going to take place on the floor. We have sent letters to the Internal Revenue saying that this president has to give his tax returns. Because remember, when the Republicans was in charge for 2 years, no one ever said anything.
Yeah.
No one said anything at all. So the reason I say that is because I want the voters in North Philly, West Philly, South Philly, wherever, to understand that their vote does count. Their vote is not being wasted. Okay? That's important to understand, that when people say it's not being wasted.
Yeah. We're talking with Congressman Dwight Evans. He represents the 3rd Congressional District, which represents parts of Philadelphia and Montgomery County. So
No, I don't represent Montgomery County anymore. That changed also.
Lord have mercy. They didn't change everything.
City, one stock. I go from Broad and Cheltenham to Broad and Mifflin.
Okay.
That's basically what the district, and I'm all basically on the west side of Broad, and only way I come on the east side of Broad is in South Philly, down when you get past Market Street.
All right. Well, thank you for that. I stand corrected. And so what do we do now in terms of holding the president accountable? I've been talking a lot about the whole tax issue. The fact that the New York Times reports he didn't pay taxes for 8 to 10 years. What are you expecting to find in these tax returns once the House gets them, if the House gets them, given that he's fighting so hard?
Well, see, the first thing is to get them, okay? And I don't want to make any speculation because I don't know him, never met him. And that's why we want it. We want to get the tax returns. That's why the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee has written 2 letters, and he's been very adamant about getting it. Now, we met last night. We meet this morning at 10 o'clock. He will have some options he's going to lay out this particular week. And the next step, more than likely, is going to be court, because he spoke to the Secretary of Treasury yesterday for about 30 seconds. And the Secretary of Treasury said that, we don't agree with you. And, he's talking to William Barr. So you can imagine, because William Barr has been kind of totally disrespectful of the process. And it's not an accident that's why Trump wanted him as his lawyer. But remember, he's lawyer for the country, not for the president. He's not the president's personal lawyer. He's the attorney general for the country. He's confirmed by the United States Senate. So it's clear that Barr is doing the bidding strictly for Trump, i.e. information about the tax returns, information about not responding to subpoenas, not dealing with the report. And what does that mean to your listening audience? Remember, I said to you, it is important that you do not have a corrupt and lawless government. I was just in Honduras a week ago. And in Honduras, where they were basically talking about they have a president there who basically wasn't supposed to run for re-election, ran and got re-elected. This is a country that's ruled by laws, no matter who it is. Democrats and Republicans, members of Congress, non-Congress, we all, may we agree or disagree with the fairness of that law, then change the law. But the fact of the matter is there's a Constitution, that document historically, and even though we know it didn't start out very perfect, we worked towards trying to add perfection to it. And that's what my job is as a member of this Congress, is to be vigilant and to stay on top of paying attention and being prepared to be very aggressive about if these people are not accountable. And that's what I do through the hearing process as the Ways and Means. We had the Secretary of Treasury before our committee. We asked questions to him about this whole account. And I'm vice chair of the Small Business Committee. Those are, the Small Business Committee basically, for example, we talked about why our historical black colleges don't have small business development centers on them, right? And we challenged them. So that's what we do. We fight for our constituents and basically become their voice in this process. And that's kind of what I'm saying to you relating to the Judiciary Committee and the chairman's leadership. And Jerry Nadler, who I had in Philadelphia before he became the chairman of Serengeti, we was talking about criminal justice reform. So those are the things, Solomon, that a person in position attempts to keep people aware and vigilant about their job and their responsibility. And those are the things I've tried to do from the 3rd Congressional District.
All right, that's Congressman Dwight Evans. He represents the 3rd Congressional District in Philadelphia. I want to thank you for joining us this morning on WURD.
Thank you very much, Solomon. I appreciate this opportunity.
All right, talk to you soon. So we got some callers on the line, so we're going to go to the phone lines, 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Of course, next up on the other side is our very own Jay McCalla with our Blackball segment. Look, we get ready to talk about what is going on, the political foolery in Washington, D.C. and beyond. But first, we're going to talk to you. So let's go to the phone lines. On line 1, we got Maurice from Southwest Philly. Good morning, Maurice. Maurice, good morning. Okay, we don't hear Maurice. So we're going to try one more time to get to him. But again, the number that you can call to get in on the conversation is 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. I want to remind you that this hour is brought to you by Power. Philadelphians organize to witness, empower, and rebuild. For more information, visit powerinterfaith.org. I'm Solomon Jones. This is WURD. We'll be right back.
Don't miss the Electric Magazine Show.
Hosted by Cody Anderson and Vicki Leach. Saturday mornings from 7 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Exclusively on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Hi, this is John.
Hi, this is Juanita, owners of JD's Auto Body and Painting. We're located at 6300 Wayne Avenue, right there at the intersection of Wayne and Washington Lane.
We really like to thank all you Word listeners for the support that you've given our business, and we really hope to see you in the future.
JD, tell them about our products and services we have.
We have a new state-of-the-art paint shop along with our body shop and detail shop. We can help you with the dents and scratches from the winter season.
Come to JD's Auto Body and Painting. Come on out and check us out. We're still honoring that Word 10% discount. Give us a call, 215-848-5949. Again, 215-848-5949.
Thanks again for supporting our business. We really appreciate you.
See you at JD's Auto Body and Painting.
Be heard. Want another way to join the conversation?
Follow us on social media
Using the hashtag onWURD.
Be heard.
Stay connected to Word Radio.
Independent Black Media.
This is Cody Anderson, and on May 21st, push button 15, Kateria McCabe for Common Pleas Court Judge. She's been a lawyer almost 30 years and has a heart for people. Kateria is active in the community, an Army veteran, and fights for the rights of seniors. On May 21st, push button 15 for my friend, Democrat Kateria McCabe for Judge.
This is Kateria McCabe, button 15. I approve this message.
Celebrate Mother's Day with B2B Sports for a Mother's Day brunch on May 12th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Luminous Hall, located at 3520 8th Street in the Harrogate Plaza Shopping Center. The event is hosted by Ray, star of BET Comic View. There will be live entertainment with LaShawn Johnson with a tribute to Luther Vandross and a Lou Williams tribute to Frankie Beverly. Each mom receives a fabulous brunch, complimentary mimosa, and roses. For tickets, call 215-778-6259.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on WURD Radio. And, of course, you can watch us on Facebook Live at 4Word. You can also go to my page, solomon.jones. We're going to do some stuff on Instagram as well. So you can follow me at SolomonJones1 on Instagram. But right now, we want to get a couple of callers before we go on to our next segment. And so I'm going to go to Joe from North Philly on line 1. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, thanks for taking my call.
You're welcome.
Now, can I be honest with you?
Yes.
Thank you, brother. Listen, it is very frustrating to listen to this garbage that just be broadcast from our political arenas nowadays. I mean, it's disheartening. It's disillusioning. I mean, we got all of these brothers locked up in jail with mental problems, need jobs, need straighten out, need their lives straightened out, and people running around talking about the country. The people are the country. I don't care nothing about the country. What does that mean?
Well, it means this is the place that it means this is the place where we live. It means this is the place where we pay our taxes. It means this is the place where we educate our children. It means this is the place where we work, where we play, where we live out our lives. And so this is our country, probably more than it's some other folks' country, because we built it with our bare hands. And so for me, and I know you may disagree with this, but for me, it is imperative that we talk about what's happening in the country, because this is our country.
Well, I'm talking about this is our people. It's the people. It's not the country. It's the people that's suffering. We got people that don't have electric, don't have water. 800.
And where do they live, Joe?
Sheriff sales every.
Where do they live?
Right here in Philly.
Right, and where is Philly?
It's on this planet.
Right. Okay. Nah. Philly is in Pennsylvania, which is part of this country. I mean, we got to talk about it, man, because this country runs on, and you are absolutely right. So I agree with you that it is the people, but it runs on our money from our work that we do with our hands. And so we need to care about it because it's ours. That's why I care about it. because it's mine.
I'm not saying I don't care about the soil and the sun and the earth and all like that, but my heart is broken when I go up and down and I see all the turmoils and the dissolution and all these things that everybody is going through.
Yeah.
While the elite take advantage of these. We arguing about whether his tax lawyers got him not to pay any taxes. You know how many people don't pay taxes? University of Penn, Temple, GE, Comcast. Come on, we arguing about that.
They not the president. They not the president. They don't make tax policy. He does.
They make a lot of money.
They make money, but they don't make the policy.
Taxes, and they ain't paying any taxes.
But they don't make the policy. So for me, it's an issue. Like, it's none of my business what happens with them. But it is my business what happens with the person who's running the system and deciding what taxes I pay when they don't pay taxes themselves. I got a problem with that. You should too.
How long are we going to talk about that, though, brother? They've been arguing about that for the past 2 years.
All right, well, we got to go. Joe, I appreciate your call. We do have a guest, but I appreciate your call and I appreciate your sentiment, and I understand what you're saying. We just respectfully disagree. Maurice from Southwest is online, too. Go ahead, Maurice.
Hey, listen, I understand where he's coming from, but, you know, we are in this country. But
Yeah.
let's break this down. The two gentlemen you had on before are beloved Philadelphians, but one sounds like he's from The Wire, from the congressman they had in that kept saying the S word, and the other one is a day late and $1 short. You can't win a mayor's race and start 6 weeks ahead of time. You should have started that in January, and you would have had more backing. And as far as Mr. Evans, I love him too, but listen, man, stop rehashing stuff we already know. Tell us something we don't know. You know, he talks like he's running policy when we know he's only a junior congressman. He barely gets to the table. So give us some things we can do, like support either the mayor, the guys running for mayor, or to get us to the voting booth by throwing a rally. But just don't get on here and slow talk.
All right, Maurice, I appreciate your call to WURD Radio. And, of course, now our good friend is back.
He cried, his voice quivered. Nobody repents better than a politician who's been caught. I think basically they're just annoyed that they didn't say it first. I sat down on the train. Next thing I know, I'm standing here in the lobby of the Trump Plaza.
How did I get here?
I don't know. Clearly there was an endorsement that was going to happen that day.
And now, Jay McCallum, only on Wake Up with Word.
Good morning, and I want to welcome Jay McCallum. He held senior positions in both the Rendell and Street administrations, a veteran political consultant. McCallum is a columnist for the Chestnut Hill Local. His work appears in the Philadelphia Inquirer. He brings deep knowledge to politics and does so from an African-American perspective. Jay, good morning.
Solomon, how you been? Where you been?
I've been around.
You've been around?
I've seen you a couple of times.
I've seen you like once a week, and then we chat, and we go up and have a few laughs.
Yeah.
But it's good to see you in that chair.
Yeah, it's good to be in this chair.
WURD.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Absolutely. So we appreciate you, man. And so we're going to talk about something that we've kind of alluded to this morning, because the House Judiciary Committee has voted to hold Attorney General William Barr in contempt of Congress, escalating the fight between President Donald Trump and House Democrats. The vote came after Barr was subpoenaed to provide a complete version of the Mueller report, but missed the deadline. Will the House win this battle, or will the Trump administration prevail? What do you think, Jay?
Look, Solomon, until congressional Democrats grow a spine, I think Trump will continue to kick their bahooties from New York to L.A. and back again. The entire Congress voted against money for his stupid wall, so he decided to declare a national emergency and just take the money. He's caging brown immigrant children at the border, and nobody's stopping him. He's banned Muslims from entering the country, and nobody's changed that. Trump's been president for roughly 2 years, and nobody's been able to even slow him down, much less these congressional Democrats. The Democrats, they think they're talking tough when they talk about taking Trump to court if necessary, but that just plays into Trump's hands. Trump wants Democrats to take him to court. The courts could take months and months. Trump needs to buy time. If Democrats had any guts at all, they would shut him down tomorrow morning. Trump needs Congress to approve the spending bills and his budget. The House Democrats could, if they had a spine, unanimously vote no on every single budget request until they get what they want. Don't even approve gasoline for Air Force One. Hold it down on the ground until you get what you want. That's what they would do. That's what the Tea Party would do. It takes two to tango, but you don't spend money unless both houses agree. And that means the Democrats have power that they are not using. Democrats have to stop trying to be nice and dainty and orderly and just get down in the mud with this monster and kick his lying, cheating, racist behind. The mud is where the fight is being fought, and the mud is where Trump is winning this fight. Solomon, a big difference between Republicans and Democrats is that Republicans will shut down the government at the drop of a hat to make their point. Democrats just hold hearings.
Yeah. Yeah, tell us how you really feel, Jay.
I'm sorry, I'm
Man,
fired
we missed
up.
that.
I'm excited being with you today and with Goetia. I'm just excited and fired up, that's all. Don't mind me.
Hey, look, no, we do mind it, and I believe that, you're right, that it has to be a real fight. Now, we just talked with Congressman Dwight Evans, and he explained to us how the process would work, but you believe that they need to do more.
Yeah, I mean, process... I don't quite, I'll try to twist my mouth up to say this, process schmocess. They're counting on us being orderly. They're counting on us being nice little boys and playing by the rules while Trump gouges our eyes, kicks us in the groin, and spits in our face. That's not a fair fight, and we need to do better. We need to do more. And make some new rules. Stop playing by the old rules, because that's what's getting us crushed.
Yeah, that is absolutely what's getting us crushed. And so what we need to do, I think, in the United States, I think, first of all, the people need to stand up, and then I think the legislators have to stand up and play a little bit tougher, play a whole lot tougher, because this is a whole new environment, I think, an environment where the old rules aren't necessarily working, Jay.
Yeah. They're saying we're going to subpoena a document. And the Attorney General says, they want, the law says we can get Trump's tax returns. The Secretary of the Treasury says, This whole executive crew just couldn't care less about the Constitution. They couldn't care less about democratic behavior. Get them out. Get them out this afternoon. And we could do it if we really had, I'll use the word a third time, if we had to spy.
So Trump has asserted executive privilege in an effort to shield hidden portions of Mueller's unredacted, that means there's nothing blacked out, right, report and the evidence that he collected from Congress. The big question that remains for me, Jay, is this: what is Trump trying to hide?
Well, I'll tell you, unless Trump murdered a blind Ukrainian hooker in the 1960s, I can't imagine what on earth he may be hiding. I mean, really, think of the dirt and crimes we already know about. We know this married man sleeps with porn stars and pays them hush money. We know that his campaign traded information with Russian operatives. His own lawyer says he cheated banks, committed insurance fraud, and lied on his taxes. So if these are the things we know, imagine the absolute filth this dude must be hiding. Trump is all about the dirty secret. Everybody who works for Trump has to sign a confidentiality agreement, and to ensure their silence, they get a check for $175,000 when they leave the staff. Sean Spicer got it. General Kelly got it. It's to guarantee their silence in the upcoming months and years. After 2 years of investigating and with an unlimited budget, the Mueller report is probably the real deal, which is why Trump so desperately wants to conceal the most damning parts of it. But take heart. Just as somebody has finally provided the media with copies of Trump's past tax returns, one day somebody will show us the real report and we will know the whole sad, ugly, dirty truth about President Trump. Solomon, we'll know the truth, but I fear it may be too late when we find it out.
Yeah. Well, they say that when you know the truth will make you free. So I'm hoping that I will be free from anxiety, free from worry, free from just this feeling that I'm being had.
Yeah.
Because that's the feeling that I get from the Trump administration, that all of us are being had.
And laughed at.
Yeah.
Had and laughed at.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's so crazy and we're in such tumult. Most people don't have even noticed that gas is a little over $3 a gallon.
That's right.
And normally that would be what drives us crazy, but Trump has distracted us so profoundly. It's not even on the radar screen, the price of gas.
It is so funny because my wife and I were just talking about that the other day. We passed by a gas station where the gas is usually cheaper.
Yeah.
You know, you have those gas stations around the city. And It was just about $3, and that was a week ago. Now it's over $3. I think it's like $3.05 or something like that. Now, if the gas prices were low, the president would be taking credit for low gas prices.
Oh, yeah.
But he's not talking about gas prices at all.
He sold us out.
Yeah.
I think his relationship with the Saudis and the Saudis pump oil, who knows what is going on under the covers with Donald Trump and the Saudis, and why we're dropping $3, $3.05. I saw at an Exxon station $3.15 yesterday. I wasn't paying it, but it hurt me.
Yeah.
I'm paying
Just to watch it.
Yeah, just to see it as I drove past. I said, wow, who's going in there? Who's got the money?
Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah, it is crazy. So we are going to go to break, and on the other side, we are going to come back with Jay McCalla talking about the political foolery going on in Washington, D.C. and beyond. I'm Solomon Jones. He's Jay McCalla. This is the Blackball segment, and we are going to be right back.
The Shamari Show. Fridays 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. on Word Radio.
And streaming live on WordRadio.com and the Word Radio app.
Was that a contraction?
Will I have a private room? Should I deliver with a doctor or a midwife?
Can I try for a VBAC?
How much weight should I be gaining?
Is there a doctor on site?
Is it time to push?
How am I supposed to fit all of these appointments in?
Can I still exercise?
From prenatal care through delivery to postpartum support, including our Level 3 NICU for babies needing extra care. When you have questions, Einstein Maternity Care has answers. Make your appointment at 1-800-EINSTEIN.
The Kimmel Center offers free arts education programs to schools across the region. Teaching artists visit classrooms to educate, engage, and inspire the next generation using creative learning experiences, and schools take trips to the Kimmel Center for live performances. The Kimmel Center is committed to educating Philadelphia's youth by providing access to quality arts. For more information, visit kimmelcenter.org.
You'd think that making $1 billion profit would be enough, but 3 big out-of-state nuclear corporations want even more. They're demanding a handout and $500 million every year, paid for by hardworking Pennsylvanians like you. They call it fair compensation, but it's really just another corporate cash grab. You shouldn't pay more for your electricity to pad the profits of nuclear executives and shareholders. Text bailout to 52886 to tell legislators no nuke bailout. Paid for by Citizens Against Nuclear Bailouts.
Millions plan for retirement online. Estimate your future benefits, apply for retirement, and manage your benefits all from the comfort of your home. And give yourself the freedom to do what you want offline. Social Security's online services help put you in control with secure access to your information anytime, anywhere, allowing you to spend more time with family, friends, or simply just enjoying the day. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow. See what you can do online at socialsecurity.gov.
U.S. taxpayer expense.
Hi, this is Sandra Dungy Glenn, Democratic candidate for City Council at Large on May 21st. You know me from WURD and my service on the school board and SRC. I'm running because Philadelphia is a city of haves and have-nots. We must do more to move families out of poverty and invest in people over property or profits. I hope to be the public servant to work with you, for you, and be available to you. Push number 77 for Sandra Dungy Glenn, City Council at Large. Paid for by Philly for Sandra Dungy Glenn, Trent Pettis, Treasurer.
Word Radio News Update with Vincent Thompson.
Good morning. Here's the latest from the Word Radio Newsroom. 96.1 FM and 900 AM. The parents of the child found wandering alone outside of a convenience store in Fallcroft, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, were in court yesterday for their arraignment. Police say they received a call for a 3-year-old boy found alone at the store Tuesday afternoon. The boy somehow wandered away from his parents for at least 3 hours. According to police, the mother was sleeping and the boy's father was cooking at the time of the incident. It's still unclear how the boy got away. Child and Youth Services placed the boy and 4 other children in the custody of the grandmother until further notice. The parents are facing charges of child endangerment and recklessly endangering the welfare of a child. A New Britain Township, Bucks County, Pennsylvania mother will not spend time behind bars for allegedly killing her infant son by breastfeeding him with drugs in her system. A judge sentenced 31-year-old Samantha Jones to 3 years of probation and 100 hours of community service after she agreed to a plea deal. The baby died from a combination of methadone, methamphetamine, and amphetamine back in 2018. Jones allegedly told police that she had been primarily breastfeeding the baby, but switched to formula 3 days before the child's death because he wasn't getting enough milk. At around 3 a.m. on April 2, 2018, the baby began crying, and Jones allegedly told police she tried to breastfeed the child because she was too tired to go downstairs to get a bottle of formula. Her husband told police the baby was crying again around 6 a.m., and Jones asked him to prepare a bottle of formula. After he left for work, she fed the baby and fell back to sleep. She woke up again around 7:30 a.m. to find the child in obvious distress. The child was rushed to the hospital, but was pronounced dead about an hour later. Philadelphia City Council is in session today, so listen to the Philadelphia City Council live show here on Word Radio from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. My guest on the show is Pat Christmas. He's the policy director for the Committee of 70. We will discuss the upcoming Pennsylvania and Philadelphia primaries on May 21st. Checking sports, current and former Phillies players are reacting with sadness on the passing of chairman and longtime executive Dave Montgomery. Montgomery passed away Wednesday morning at the age of 72 after a 5-year battle against cancer. Montgomery's Phillies career began in 1971, working in the ticket office during the day and helping operate the scoreboard at night. In August 2014, Montgomery took a leave of absence as president and CEO following his diagnosis in May of that year. He returned as chairman in January 2015. He spearheaded the club's transition from Veterans Stadium to Citizens Bank Park in 2004, including the construction of the ballpark. In remembrance of Montgomery, all City of Philadelphia flags will be flown at half-staff for 1 week, and he is expected to be honored at today's City Council session. The Phils defeated the St. Louis Cardinals yesterday. Phils starting pitcher Jared Eichhoff allowed 3 hits and 8 runs, and infielder Cesar Hernandez homered and drove in 3 runs in the victory. The Phils are off today. Several days after acquiring Blake Countess from the Los Angeles Rams, the Eagles moved to keep him around. The Eagles have restructured the contract of the 25-year-old safety and extended it for 1 year. The Rams, unable to get Countess to agree to a pay cut, released him last week, and the Eagles were awarded his contract on waivers. And finally, in the NHL playoffs, the San Jose Sharks advanced to the Western Conference Final with a win against the Colorado Avalanche in Game 7 of the second round last night. The Sharks have home ice advantage against the St. Louis Blues in the conference final and will host Game 1 of the best-of-7 series Saturday. The Boston Bruins and Carolina Hurricanes will begin the Eastern Conference Final with Game 1 tonight. Vincent Thompson, Word Radio News.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM and 96.1 FM WURD, and we are back with Jay McCalla with our Blackball segment, talking all the political foolery going on in Washington, D.C. and beyond. So we just learned this just a couple minutes ago. Jay, one of your favorite international leaders is back, Kim Jong-un.
Little Kim.
Little Kim.
Little Kim. I love that haircut, first of all. I mean, I can go down the list of the things I love about him. Those little square suits he wears and that really stylish haircut. The man is a dapper dude. As dictators go. As dictators go.
Right. And so now he is apparently launching more missiles, Jay.
It seems like that tete-a-tete and those little conferences that he had with Donald Trump didn't work.
Didn't work at all.
The deal maker didn't make a deal.
No.
And now the guy walks away and he's firing missiles again.
That's
Please
right.
don't send Trump to talk to this man again.
Or anybody else.
Amen. Amen.
Stop talking to people.
Talk to Melania. Build a relationship with her. Build a bridge to Melania.
So at least she'll hold your hand in public. I mean,
yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, maybe she'll let you see her more than once a month. You know? Wave as she drives off the White House grounds and you sit there with your cheeseburger in the window crying. That's all right. That's all right. You're our president till
something happens, until the people wake up. And speaking of the fact that he's the president, let's talk about this. And I know, look, he's paid no taxes. He paid no taxes, Jay. Let's just let that just linger. Just let that just marinate for a minute. The president of the United States paid no taxes for 8 to 10 years after losing, he says, over $1 billion in his business. That's according to the New York Times. Based on what we already know from that report, Jay, what else could his tax returns reveal if we're ever lucky enough to see him?
Look, Solomon, I just love these recent revelations about Trump's taxes. Apparently, during those years, and I've heard this through media, so it's got to be true, Trump lost more money than any other living American. He lost $1 billion in 8 years. Nobody else in this country has lost $1 billion at that time over the period of 8 years. Nobody. How could he not lose $1 billion, honestly? It's as plain as the black nose on my very black face that Trump is mentally ill and very poorly educated. Of course he's going to wreck the business the way he's wrecking the country. Donald Trump used to own a giant yacht, but the banks took it from him in one of his several bankruptcies. Trump may be an unmedicated screw-up, but he's crafty enough to not pay federal taxes for almost a decade. To be so rich, privileged, and snotty, and connive and cheat so as not to have to pay taxes, it just stinks. For that decade, everybody in the Word listening audience paid more in taxes than the nasty, childish, wannabe dictator that sleeps in the White House. We all paid more money in taxes than that guy. Frankly, I want to know if he's ever paid taxes. We know there's never been a Trump who served in the military, so the least they could do is pay their taxes. As a whole, Trump's lack of military service and his cheating on his taxes, it's almost impossible to find even a shred of love in him for the nation he now controls. Solomon, it's his conspicuous lack of patriotism and love for this country that just chills the marrow in my very bones. He doesn't love this country. He only comes to exploit it, to get, not to give.
You know, that's my problem with somebody not paying taxes. Because, you know, as much as people talk about socialism is terrible and this and that, well, the reality is we all put in a little bit so that we all can benefit. That's how this country works. Yep. We all pay taxes, and then we elect people who oversee those taxes and decide how those taxes are spent. Now, imagine, Jay, you got a guy who didn't pay taxes for 8 to 10 years, and you're right, we don't know if he's ever paid them.
Yeah.
Right? Overseeing the tax system.
How about that?
And then deciding through this tax law that he just passed, along with the Republican Congress, that people in Coase's home state of New Jersey are going to pay a little bit more because they have higher property taxes, as blue states do. So we're going to punish those blue states.
Right.
By making sure that they don't get the same deductions as they got before. A guy who doesn't pay taxes, overseeing the census system and saying we're going to scare people who are immigrants out of answering the census by putting in another question about, are you a citizen? And if you answer it, maybe ICE is going to come, maybe they're not. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe they're going to come drag you out. I don't know. But we know that the numbers in those blue states where those people live are going to go down. And so your tax money that you paid and he didn't, less of it is going to go to those blue states for the next 10 years.
Until the next census, you're right.
Damage. It is unbelievable that somebody who does not pay taxes has say over what happens with our taxes.
It's like having a termite in your house. He just comes and eats away at the wood, doesn't contribute, just eats away at the wood, and then a few years later, everything collapses. You know, they tell working people, work hard, play by the rules, keep your nose clean, keep your head down, and you're going to do fine. No! That's the biggest hoax the American worker has ever fallen for. It's these guys like Trump. It's these guys, who was it, John Corzine, who was governor of New Jersey, who robbed his investors of money. You just see so many stories of the rich abusing their position and not shouldering. What stunned me was how much money there is in this world. Notre Dame in Paris caught on fire. Within 3 days, billionaires had offered up $500 million cash.
That's right.
To help fix that Notre Dame. Nobody lived in there. Notre Dame wasn't serving food to the homeless. But that's how much money there is. And I'm sure those French millionaires weren't paying their taxes either.
Yeah, and that is the issue. And again, this is not an issue of Republican or Democrat. It's not even an issue of liberal and conservative, because John Corzine, who you mentioned, was a Democrat.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. A Democratic crook.
That's right. And he was rich, and he didn't pay, you know, he was doing what he was doing. And so, you know, this is an issue of class. And I think, I would hope, man, that at some point, working class people in this country, especially working class white people, would wake up and realize that you're being exploited just like the rest of us.
Amen.
Just like the rest of us, because this guy's telling you you're great because you're white. In the meantime, he's exploiting all of us by not paying taxes and benefiting from the taxes that we pay. We pay the taxes that keep the roads running. We pay the taxes that keep the bridges in place. We pay the taxes that run those government buildings. We pay the taxes that give the police those uniforms, those guns, those billy clubs, those tasers. All of that stuff that they have is paid for by our tax dollars. And you mean to tell me the guy running it all pays nothing?
The man who has it all pays nothing. Now, when he comes to a city, all these police line up to protect him and to escort him here and there, paid for tax dollars to which he does not contribute. The Secret Service that protects him, you know, they get salaries. You and I pay those salaries for those Secret Service people, but he doesn't kick in a dime for his protection.
Nothing.
Get him out of here.
Yeah.
Is he still there? Get him out of the White House. Somebody call and see if he answers the phone and get him out. Please, today.
Craziness, man. I mean, you know, for me, that is the issue. And certainly we've had some people who say, you know, oh, well, you know, if it's legal for him to do that, he should be able to do that. Okay, change the laws.
Yes. And
Change
the
the
word
laws.
legal doesn't have that much power.
No, it doesn't.
Slavery was legal.
Come on now.
You know, the Holocaust was legal. You know, the word legal is too respected.
Yeah.
You know, we can change the law this afternoon and suddenly it's illegal. That's, you know, come on.
Law does not equal justice.
Right. And
Just because it's the law doesn't mean it's right.
Amen.
You know, so let's go on and talk about some other stuff, because we got to talk about what's going on locally right here in Philadelphia. So we're going to stick with the tax issues and we're going to go local, because gentrification in Philadelphia has increased taxes to the point where property owners are appealing their assessments in droves. About 10,000 homeowners have appealed their assessments to the Board of Revision of Taxes, but less than half of those appeals have been heard. What can be done, Jay, from a political standpoint about the skyrocketing property taxes right here in Philadelphia?
I'll tell you, Solomon, not long ago, Mayor Kenney proposed an increase in the real estate tax, and council refused to consider it, to their credit, I guess. But when mayors need money, they know how to get it, and it's through the backdoor tax increase known as a reassessment. The only difference I see between a reassessment and a tax increase is that they can still raise your taxes after they reassess you. It is in the midst of the confused definitions, processes, and appeals that politicians are hoping we will all just shut up and pay more because the city says your house is suddenly worth more. Your friendly neighborhood council person doesn't want to vote to raise taxes, but they will absolutely look the other way when the mayor uses the back door to jack up your tax bill. And just to make sure the average citizen has no shot at mercy or even fairness, they make you wait months and months just to get a decent hearing on this tax increase and reassessment they're hitting you with. Look, given that Kenney lost $33 million of our money, I suppose he wants to pick our pockets in case he loses more. I don't know. You know, it's very possible. But you know, that's just one of the things that we have to deal with. And so I am kind of confused about it. So
it is a backdoor. It is a backdoor increase in taxes, doing that reassessment and saying, okay, now your property is worth more. According to us, now it's worth more, so now you have to pay more in taxes.
Absolutely. And council can come in and give a moratorium on these tax reassessments. They can freeze reassessments on certain people who are poor and vulnerable. Look, if the city needs so much money, let's end the 10-year tax abatement we hand out, which gets us right back to gentrification and how the city is promoting it with the tax abatement. This kind of trickery and exploitation of average folks only exists because folks don't know the games politicians play. Solomon, that's why I'm glad you're back and talking black. God bless you.
I know, that's right. Thank you, Jay, and I'm glad you're back with me, man, because we gotta expose this stuff, because the reality is that most people don't understand that the assessment is, in fact, a backdoor tax increase. That's exactly what it is. So you can't say, oh, they voted to increase the taxes. No, it's the assessment. That's all it is. It's just an assessment of your property. And since your property is worth more, aren't you glad your property is worth more? Now give us some more of your money.
Oh, yeah. And this is the re-election time. This is the time to grab these council people, all of these candidates running for council, grab them by the lapels, put your forehead against their forehead and say, what you going to do about these reassessments? I don't want to pay more. And that's good enough. You don't
Yeah.
have to be articulate.
Yeah.
You don't have to say anything else. You're a citizen. All you have to say is, I don't want it. That should be enough.
That should be enough. It should be enough. Unfortunately, a lot of times it's not enough because we don't vote in large enough numbers for us to really be a threat to them.
Yeah.
You know, the thing that a politician wants most in life is another term.
Amen. Like a dying man wants his next breath.
Look here.
Another term.
Another term. I mean, think about it. You know, it's a great job.
Yes.
You get a car. You know what I mean? You get you get the greatest benefits on earth.
9 months work schedule.
You know what I mean? If you're in council, you get summers off, right?
You get a pension after 2 terms.
You get a pension. You get to work another job if you want to. Like, it's a great job, you know, and there's nothing wrong with them getting those things as long as they are doing the job. I'm not begrudging them anything that they get,
right?
Legally and morally. I'm not begrudging them anything. But what I need you to do in return for all that stuff is work for me.
Yeah, that's all.
That's what I need you to do.
Care about me the way you said you would when you wanted my vote.
Right.
Care about education the way you said you would. Care about street crime the way you said you would.
That's right.
Don't just sit there taking your $135,000 a year in a city where the average income is $40. You know, show some humility, earn your pay, and go home feeling good.
Yeah, that's what we need. So I want to hear from you. You can give us a call at 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here on WURD Radio and let us know where you are on any of these things we are talking about on this morning's show. So we got a couple minutes left, Jay. I want to go back to Kim Jong-un and these missiles that he's firing. This is like the second time in, I don't know, a few days that they've been firing these missiles, man. And, you know, Donald Trump made a big deal out of going and meeting personally with Kim Jong-un. A lot of people who understood how international negotiations work said that he should not do that. He did it anyway. And now we see this result. What do you think, Jay?
The problem is, Trump isn't smart. He is not an intelligent man. He doesn't think he needs to study. We all know he doesn't read. And so when he goes up head-to-head with a guy who's from a dynasty of dictators, a hard-liner, somebody who will cut you as quick as look at you, and he comes in with a little porn star background and his golden hair and his tubby little belly, and he thinks that that he's this man's equal. He is not Kim's equal. He's not Putin's equal. He's just a Manhattan real estate developer who's been bankrupt a few times. And he's not up to the job. He just plain isn't up to the job. And the fact that Kim Jong-un is firing missiles is proof that Trump isn't up to the job.
Yeah, it is crazy, man, because the other thing that happened as a result of that was that Kim Jong-un got to meet with Vladimir Putin.
Yep.
Right? Because Trump legitimized him. And so it's like now, okay, well, if you meet with Trump, you got to meet with me too. Oh, and he met with the Chinese.
Yes.
All of this after he met with Trump. So who really benefited from that whole thing other than Kim Jong-un? Looked like he came out on top to me.
Trump got played.
Yeah.
And he's too stupid to know he got played. The first, I think it was a week ago when Kim launched his first wave of missiles, Trump issued a press statement saying, I stand with Kim Jong-un. No. Kim is targeting you, and you stand with him?
Yeah.
Come on, Jack.
Yeah, come on, man. Come on. And this is what I'm talking about in terms of leadership in this country. But I'm going to go to the phone lines. We're going to hear from some of the callers while you're here, Jay. Let's go to Beverly from Philly on line 1. Go ahead, Beverly.
Hi.
Hi.
This is the first time calling, so I'm a bit nervous.
Thank you. Thank you so much for calling. And don't be nervous. You're just talking to us.
Every time I hear you all talk about tax abatement and city tax increase, it just boils my blood. I live in the 19130 area, and I happen to be African American. I bought my house about 5 years ago, and this is what I've noticed in my area. Contractors, LLCs are buying properties at a discount auction. Homeowners that just want to get out, blah, blah, blah. Then they rehab, they sell, and they receive the tax abatement.
Yep.
We sell to a new owner who pays 5 times what they've invested in the property, and they receive the tax abatement.
Yep.
That new owner then has no interest, no desire to live here, the property is rented at a ridiculous rate. The block that I live on, half the block is rental.
Yeah.
And the only benefit I can get as someone who bought at a fair price and has lived here and want to live here is the homestead.
The homestead exemption. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And each year that I've been here, I've been appealing my taxes. I've yet to have a hearing. And each year my taxes are increased. And as I look around the neighborhood and I see the change, I don't understand how I can go one block north, I can see Girard Avenue from my doorway, and houses that have square footage, more room, probably 3 times where I am, are paying a fifth of what I pay in property tax. Not a mile away, a block away.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can walk through that area, and it's nothing but construction.
Yeah.
So there is a big problem with the city tax, and I'd like to know what people like myself can do. When I lived in the county, I moved from Montgomery County. I was in Cheltenham Township for about 20 years. I did hire a lawyer, and I did appeal the tax, and I did fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see anything like that here in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm. So, so you appealed here to the Bureau of Revision of Taxes, the BRT.
In Philadelphia, yes. Mm-hmm.
And you have not had a hearing?
Nope.
Ever?
Nope.
And you've appealed it over and over again?
Yep.
I want you to hold on. I want to get some information from you. Can you do that?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on, because that's ridiculous. Now, let me ask you this before I put you on hold. Who's your council person?
Oh, gosh. Right there on Girard Avenue. I can't think of her name because I'm new to Philadelphia.
Okay. How long have you been here?
5 years.
5 years. Okay, so you can't get the long-time owner occupancy program because you had to be here for 10 years for that.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I'm on a fixed income, retired.
Mm-hmm. Do you live near Eastern State Penitentiary?
I live between there and Girard College. I'm closer to Girard College.
Oh, I think that's Darrell Clark's district.
Yes.
Okay, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. I want to get some information from you. I'm going to go to break, and on the other side, we are going to continue. Jay, can you hang around for a couple minutes?
Sure.
Okay, Jay McCall is still here with us. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we'll be right back.
Brothers and sisters!
Don't miss The Source
Weekdays 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
on Word Radio.
WordRadio.com and the Word Radio app.
Freedom's Journal, The Art of Jerry Pinkney, is now on view at the Woodmere Art Museum. Master watercolorist and renowned illustrator, celebrated worldwide and featuring over 100 artist illustrations, Pinkney's works presents spirited watercolors and powerful depictions focusing on the civil rights struggle and the pursuit of freedom, including Charles Blockson's groundbreaking escape from slavery, the Underground Railroad. You don't want to miss this. Freedom's Journal, The Art of Jerry Pinkney, now through May 12th. See it today. Visit woodmereartmuseum.org.
On May 21st, elect Dennis Lee for City Commissioner, former Chief Deputy City Commissioner who fought against the state voter ID law. As City Commissioner, he will focus on voter education, voter registration, and voter participation in order to guarantee access to free and fair elections. Vote for Dennis Lee for City Commissioner, May 21st, paid for by Citizens for Dennis Lee, Miller Parker, Treasurer.
Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM. WURD.
The Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts presents the James and Jennifer Nixon Symposium, The Art of Collecting, Saturday, May 18th from 9:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. The day-long symposium will introduce artists and art lovers to why collecting is important and how to be empowered with the determination, information, and courage needed to collect original works of art. Artist and educator Nasir May Lindo will give an inspiring keynote on art collecting practices by she and her husband, actor Delroy Lindo. Dr. Brittany Webb, curator of the John Roden collection at PAFA, will also speak. For more information, visit pafa.org.
You're waking up
with Word.
Hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on WURD Radio, 900 AM and 96.1 FM. You can, of course, watch us live on Facebook. Just go to onWURD on Facebook. You can also watch us live on Instagram and check us out there as well. Jay, this 10-year tax abatement, man, is crazy. Now, we just had Beverly call and tell us about her experience. She lives near Eastern State Penitentiary. I believe that's Darrell Clark's district.
Yes.
In an area that they are now calling Fairmount. We used to call it North Philly.
Okay.
Right? But, you know, that's the problem. You come in as a regular homeowner, you buy your property. Developers come in, they buy property. They then sell it to someone who now gets a 10-year tax abatement. And that person might rent the property out. And then in 10 years, they flip it because they don't want to have to pay the full tax. They never pay the full tax on the property. Meanwhile, you as a regular homeowner, you're stuck. It's not right.
The city is trying to choose what citizens it has.
That's what it is.
They are trying to attract yuppies, and if I have to use a color, they're certainly not looking for African Americans. They want, and the whole. I think you have to view the 10-year tax abatement, which favors yuppies, in the same way you view pre-K. Anybody who gets this Jim Kenney pre-K subsidy, you can be wealthy and get it. The poor and the rich are competing for pre-K subsidies. So if you're poor, you might get beaten out for a subsidy by somebody who's wealthy and absolutely doesn't need it. The resources of our city are being shifted away from the poor and the working folks. You used to be able to make $45,000, or I think it was $50,000 actually, to get an affordable house, a big subsidy from the city. Now you can make up to $105,000 in your household and get $250,000 subsidy from the city with an affordable house. The 10-year tax abatement is just part of the way the average working person is being ripped off by our government.
It is crazy, man. So we're going to go back to the phone lines because we want to hear from you. So I'm going to go to Greg from East Falls on line 2. Go ahead, Greg.
Hey, how y'all doing there?
Good, man. How you doing?
Hey, Crazy Jay is back.
Jay is back.
Thank you, sir.
Apple Pie, Solomon Jones, and Jay McCullough. You don't get no better than that.
Thank you, man.
You don't get no better than that. I mean, you were talking to Anthony Williams. Jay, you're talking about I heard Dwight Evans. I'm thinking about Nancy Pelosi. What do you really think? And I want your opinion on, because as I look at what's going on in Congress, Trump ain't did this by himself.
Yeah.
And I really believe, I'm a conspiracy theorist, not on everything, but clearly he can't sell this country down the tubes without Lindsey Graham, without Mitch McConnell, and Nancy Pelosi. What do you think about that, Jay?
What do you think, Jay?
Well, yeah, it's like any old criminal. You need a good lookout. If you want to knock over a liquor store or jewelry store or just rob somebody in a back alley, you need a lookout. Every crack dealer knows that. And Trump is basically as smart as any crack dealer. He's a crook. He's trying to pull something over on us. He's got his little followers, his beer-bellied, toothless, mouth-breathing supporters are out there believing anything he says. And they are his enablers. You're right.
But
they have to have a lookout.
He's asking about the people in Congress. He's saying that Nancy Pelosi and some of the Democrats as well as the Republicans like Lindsey Graham are helping him to do what he's doing. Is that your assertion, Greg? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, so he's asking what you think about that.
I agree. Greg, I agree with you. Look, Nancy Pelosi, if she wanted, she's smart. She's been around a million years. If she wanted to shut Donald Trump down, she's smart enough and tough enough to do it. The fact that she isn't doing it means she's got another agenda that she's not going to tell us. But these people at the top, they are all in agreement. Have you ever seen any of these old photos people love to put on Facebook of Bill Clinton playing golf with Donald Trump and Mike Bloomberg and his rich pals? They're all in the same club together, and they're not letting us in, Greg.
Greg?
Thanks a lot, Jay.
All right, so here's what I think. I think that Nancy Pelosi has to hold her caucus together. And I think that she is doing a very delicate dance that she has to do in order to hold them together. You got to remember, she now has Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She now has people like Ilhan Omar. She now has very young people in who have very different ideas than she does. And so she also has some of the old folks who have very, very different ideas than she does. She has to hold them together against the Republicans who have just the opposite idea. So I think that she's got a difficult job. I think certainly if she wanted to blow the whole thing up, she could do that. But in blowing the whole thing up, she might also blow up her Democratic caucus. She might also blow up any chance that they have of winning in 2020. And so I think that, you know, she's a politician's politician. A woman is what? Is she 80 years old, Jay?
She's approaching it.
She's been around for a long time, and I think she knows the game well enough to know that you can't just blow it up like that without blowing up yourself. That's what I think. Greg? Okay, Greg is gone. So we're going to go back to the phone lines, and we are going to go to Jacob from Olney on line 3. Go ahead, Jacob.
Hey, peace be unto you, Solomon. Hey, look, I'm going to call Jay, Dr. J. Because stuff that he bringing, man, y'all bringing it. You know, we got to start taking ownership in and of this country. You know, some people charge you, Solomon, with cutting people off. But, you know, sometimes, man, you got to cut the communication short.
Yeah.
You know, going back and forth with some people is fruitless, you know, because how can you prove to me that my ancestors worked this country for 400 years for nothing? You can't prove that to me. I don't care what you say.
No.
It ain't enough Africa to tell me that I'm going to give up on what my ancestors did building this country.
Exactly.
Blood, sweat, and tears, their remains is in this soil, and I'm going to look elsewhere. Look, all I got to say is y'all are showing light on principalities and wickedness in high places. Keep on doing what you do, brother.
Thank you.
I'm glad y'all back.
Thank you, man. We appreciate that, and we appreciate you, Jacob, right here on WURD. And, yeah, here's the thing. And, you know, people have to understand this, man. We are trying to talk to everybody. And so you can't filibuster. I'm sorry. We don't have time for that. Like, because we have a limited amount of time. And as we go forward, we are going to have more callers than we can handle. It's approaching that now, and we only 3 days in. And so we need to be able to talk to everybody. And so you need to get to your point so that we can talk to other people. We want everybody to be engaged in what we are doing here at WURD.
Amen. Amen. And I'm glad you let me come in.
Yeah.
I'm glad you let me come in. It's an honor to be able to talk to an African-American audience.
Yeah.
It is an honor.
It is absolutely that, and we appreciate each and every one of you. Whether we got to cut you short or not, we appreciate you, and we love you enough that we want to get to everybody and hear from all of you as we talk about these issues that affect our community so greatly. Let's talk to Mike from Montgomeryville on line 4. Go ahead, Mike.
Solomon, good morning to you and your guests.
How you doing, brother?
I'm all right, and welcome back.
Thank you, man.
I used to listen to you. Well, we won't get into that. But I have a question. How is it that somebody who's never stepped foot inside my house can tell me from the outside what my house is worth?
I know. You're right. That's how you know it's a fraud. Like, you can't tell me that. You don't know what's in my house. You don't know if I take care of the house. All you've seen is the outside. They literally drive by and do these assessments, man. It's crazy.
Philadelphia. I'm still trying to figure that out. And with this tax abatement program, somebody needs to do away with it. I mean, you talk about your city's broke, and here you're letting rich people get away with not paying taxes.
Yep.
You've got movie stars who've not paid taxes. You have entertainers who have not paid taxes, and they've gone to jail. How is it that you can subpoena them and you can't subpoena this cat that's in the White House?
Exactly. Not unless the laws apply one way to us and they apply another way to him.
What they need to do is just go down to the White House, snatch his behind out of there, and lock him the hell up. I mean, that's my opinion.
All right, Mike. Well, we appreciate that right here on WURD Radio. That's why I love our people, Jay. They just tell it to you straight.
He's a direct actor. I like that. He can give me advice anytime. Go in and then snatch him out. I like that
Snatch
idea.
him up. Snatch him up right now. Let's go to Paul from the Northeast on line 1. Go ahead, Paul.
Good morning, Solomon. Good morning, Jay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I wanted to mention something. Solomon, you said something yesterday I agreed with about the impeaching Trump. I'm not a Trump supporter, but I just can't stand wasting time. The government, it seems like they get elected, and if they're not in power, they spend the whole time they're in office trying to campaign for the next election.
Yeah.
So with the redaction of the information in the report, the last I heard in April was there was a U.S. District Court ruling. It's the Supreme Court precedent, and they're not allowed to release grand jury testimony because it would impact the grand jury process.
Right.
So right after they say that, the Democrats just start saying release it. Like, you can't say release your taxes because it's the law and then turn around and say give me an unredacted report even though I know it's against the law. Like, come on, just move on. The only thing it's allowed to be done is it's allowed to be released, from what I heard, it's allowed to be released to another, if they started another investigation.
Okay.
The information could be released to another investigation. If you want to start another investigation, and put your time and effort in making our lives better instead of spending all your time and probably your staff time wasting time on things like impeachment and redacted reports that they're not allowed by law to see. Like, let's just spend the next 4 years, 2 years wasting time talking about that.
Yeah, I hear you, Paul. I hear you, Paul, and I want to thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. I do think that the American people deserve to see a copy of the report, but he's right. You cannot publicly release grand jury testimony. So how do you get around that so that the people can see the whole report? Jay, what do you think?
Well, the Congress is asking for it, and it's not as though the New York Times is asking for it, so they could put it on the front page the way they did the Pentagon Papers. I think just as we have a U.S. Congress that has special committees that hear sensitive foreign intelligence about bombs and secret weapons and our nuclear programs, we can trust. Our system is designed to trust the Congress, and you just can't have the executive branch investigating the president, coming up with damning information, and we know it's damning because it was blacked out, and then say, okay, that's good enough for me. We're Americans. We need to know exactly what our president did and did not do. Law or no law, we need to find out what he did.
So it could be released, I guess, to Congress.
Yeah.
Secretly, as long as it did not, the grand jury testimony did not come out to the public. But again, I want to see all of it. I do.
Yeah.
I do. And so, but Paul brings up an interesting point. My point is this. They need to be focused on 2020.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if you're really trying to get him out and get somebody else in, then you need to be focused on the election, because all this stuff is going to take up valuable time and energy that you could be putting into winning.
And every time we tie Trump up for a week or 2 or 3, or as he says, 2 years, he asks for an extension on his term.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we have to chop this guy down on the time schedule, get him out, get him gone.
Okay, we'll see. Let's go to Tyrone from North Philly on line 2. Go ahead, Tyrone.
Peace and blessings, my brother. Much love and respect to the WRD family.
Thank you.
Brother Jay, I am so sorry, man, that Yorktown didn't get an opportunity to be saved by you, my good brother. But, just 2 things, Brother Solomon, in terms of the tax abatement. One, we give these folks a gift horse. 2, they put these properties in our community and raise the tax base beyond the means of people to pay. Then the city create these tax policies, initiatives tax policies, then got to create initiatives for people to be able to maintain or stay in their homes because they can't pay the taxes that are created by these new policies. So I think city council and the mayor, they need to go back and reassess the ABI, stuff that they put together that's been gentrifying our neighborhoods, pushing people out of their homes, and not giving folks the opportunity to stay in their homes because they cannot pay these new taxes that these new policies are creating.
All right, Tyrone, we appreciate your call this morning to WURD Radio. He's saying they need to go back and reassess. Well, they have reassessed. The problem is that the taxes are higher as a result.
Yeah, they're raising our taxes. They're raising our taxes, and we just need to say no. We've got the power. And you know what? If all people who work, all people who are poor, look, ex-offenders, if we all registered and voted, we could run this world ragged.
That's right. And here's the thing. Most people don't know that in Pennsylvania, if you have gone to jail and served your time, you can vote. As a matter of fact, if you are in jail awaiting trial, you can vote. The only time you cannot vote in Pennsylvania is if you are in jail serving time for a felony conviction. But if it's anything else, if you've already been to jail, you've served your time or whatever, you can vote. You can vote. And a lot of our people do not know that. They don't know. And so they don't vote because they don't want to get embarrassed, right? They don't want to have to say, oh, man, I got, this criminal conviction. Doesn't matter in Pennsylvania. You can vote. And I need all the brothers who've been to jail, sisters too. I need y'all to know that you can vote, right? And so go and register, vote. You know what I mean? So that you can have an effect on what happens, because the criminal justice system is like it is because our people don't vote.
Amen. And our politicians want to give us things that don't help us. They were all giddy and happy to give us Amazon with this huge cost. But Amazon was going to be spread. They were going to be hiring people from Trenton, from South Jersey, from King of Prussia, and they were not going to be hiring ex-offenders. We have a city where we have roughly 25% illiteracy. We have a 25% illiteracy rate. Do you think those people were going to be hired by Amazon? Our 27% poverty rate, people living on a subsistence of $12,000 a year.
That's right.
Were they going to be hired with their illiteracy and their lack of good clothing and lack of good diction? No. This was nothing they want to give us will benefit black folks.
That's what I'm talking about. And that is what we have to change. And that is why we are here. Jay McCalla, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning on WURD.
It's an honor. Always an honor.
All right. We'll talk to you next week, and we'll talk to the callers on the other side of this break. I'm Solomon Jones. This is WURD, and we will be right back.
Brothers and sisters!
Don't miss The Source.
Weekdays, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
on Word Radio.
WordRadio.com and the Word Radio app.
Anthony Kyriakakis is the fair voice we need on the Philadelphia Court of Common Pleas. As a defense attorney, Anthony volunteered for President Obama's Clemency Project. He has fought to end racial inequities in our justice system. Now, Anthony is running for judge. He's endorsed by the Democratic Party and received the Philadelphia Bar Association's highest rating. On May 21st, push button number 19 to vote for Democrat Anthony Kyriakakis. Paid for by Anthony Kyriakakis for judge.
This is Anthony Kyriakakis, and I approve this message.
What's up, everyone? I know you know the word. No, not the station, but the word. J-O-B, that is. And our friends at Amoroso's Baking Company are hiring right now. Amoroso's has been baking the delicious breads in our community for over 100 years, and they want you to join their team today. The old and the young love Amoroso's, and they're hiring right now. Check it out. They offer fair pay and provide health, dental, and prescription plans after 90 days of employment. Call Scott Drummond at 856-754-0360 or visit amorosos.com for details.
Support independent black media and join the Forward movement now at 215-425-7875
or visit wordradio.com.
Hi, this is Glenn Ellis. Please consider joining me on Friday, May 10th at Harambe Institute from 6 to 10 p.m. along with motivational speaker Kevin White and State Senator Sharif Street. It will be an evening of black male empowerment. The first Male Health Summit. Friday, May 10th, 6 to 10 p.m., Harambe Institute, 640 North 66th Street in Philadelphia.
Philadelphia is coming together to support Alan Dom for City Council, number 66 on the ballot. Listen to Philadelphia boxing legend Bernard Hopkins explain why he's standing with Alan Dom in the May 21st Democratic primary.
In all my championship fights, I train to go the distance. Alan Dom, he's going the distance for us, empowering more black entrepreneurs and business owners, helping former inmates get a fresh start, giving our kids access to the educational opportunities they deserve. Alan Dom is a champion who will always fight for us.
Alan Dom, number 66 on the ballot, donating his city council salary back to our schools, fighting to give Philadelphia's children a brighter future. On May 21st, stand with Bernard Hopkins Vote Alan Dom for City Council, number 66 on the ballot.
Paid for by Dom for Council.
Now, with more clarity, this is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Streaming live at wordradio.com. Back by popular demand.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio,
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on WURD Radio. You can, of course, watch us. We are on Facebook Live, and just go to onWURD on Facebook. You can also go to solomon.jones. Shared it some other places as well. And we want you to weigh in. Give us a call at 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. We got about 11 minutes. We got a bank full of callers, so we're going to run through them. Let's go to Juanita from Northern Liberties on line 1. Go ahead, Juanita.
Hi, my name is Juanita.
Yes.
And I live in the Northern Liberty section of the city.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm calling about the first line review. You know, when we apply for the first level review.
Mm-hmm. On your assessment on your property.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I filed last year. And I got a report back saying that they reduced it for $30,000. Okay, when I called back again, they sent me another letter, and this time, I noticed that they lowered the size of the house.
That's interesting.
Because they said that they have drones down that they go over and they measure the property.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the reason why I call it in question is because I sent a comprehensive review. The reason why it was comprehensive because I'm a realtor, so I know comps.
Yeah, yeah.
So when I called and I talked with her, and I explained to her that that I had sent a large report, she says, well, if you file another review, the next time we have to come out and take the measurements in person.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So my question to her was like, my house was built in 1920.
Yeah.
There's a house that's attached to mine. And when I noticed, his house was not decreased in size.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, is there anything to this as far as them measuring the size of the houses now by drones?
I don't know what you mean. So how could the size of the house be reduced? I don't understand that. So they were saying that it was inaccurate all that time?
Yes. That's what she said, but they have ways to measure the size of the house. My interpretation of that was that I don't think she was astute enough to know how to read my comprehensive report.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was the main, and she took the easy way out.
Mm-hmm. And said, next time we're going to have to come to your house.
We're going to have to come to your house, and I'm thinking, I was almost like a threat. Oh, well, maybe they're
That's what it sounds like to me. Like, oh, all right, well, yeah, accept what we have, or we're going to come to your house, and it's really going to be bad. That's what it sounds like. Mm-hmm.
And by me being in the business, you know, I understand it. But, you know, I'm tired of fighting.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go down there, and she said, okay, file it. Then I have to go before the review board. And this is, you know, what's happening. So
but you know what? If you can get before that board, a lot of times it goes well for the taxpayer. If you know what I mean? If you can get to that point. So you just got to get it to that point.
But
you know,
my question is, but how astute are the assessors there? I mean, what kind of background do they have as far as
the people who are doing the assessments?
Yeah.
That's the question. That is the question. And that's why you have people fighting to say we need to have those assessments done by people who we know who they are. We know what their backgrounds are. We know that they are qualified to do it because the assessments are just they're too wildly different from one house to another. The houses could be just alike and it's two different assessments. Why?
Right. Well, mine was done, like I said, on nonconformity because I rehabbed my house in 1985.
Okay.
So I mean, it's not an $800,000 house.
Right.
My taxes are like something like $6,000.
That's high.
Even though I have, the square footage is there.
Yeah.
And I do have a new kitchen, but I mean, it's not if I put it on the market, I'm not going to get $600,000 or $700,000 for it.
Right, right.
But the report that I sent in, like I said, it was comprehensive. I got 35 years as a realtor. So come on. You know, I knew what I was doing.
Well, look, you need to be teaching us how to do it.
Me.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like an insult when I called. It was like an intimidation.
Yeah.
But if you do it again, you know,
we coming to your house. That's what that is. Hold on, let me get some information from you. I got to go on to our next caller. We got about 7 minutes left. See, that's what people talk about. Hold on a minute. People keep saying, "Oh, you cutting us off." No, we got a bank full of calls. We're trying to get to everybody, and so we're going to move on to our next caller, and it is Miss Shakumba from South Philly on line 2. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm calling because I live in the Graduate Hospital area.
Yeah.
We have a situation going on here today concerning the fact that these people are trying to push through a development proposal, and they're stacking the deck against the people who are being impacted by this development at 2401 Washington Avenue.
Okay.
Tonight we're having a meeting. Now, at this time, nobody was informed that there was going to be a vote taken, but the coordinating RCO, Cessna, all of a sudden decided they were going to have to take a vote. Now, you're going to take a vote, then people should notify. The notice that they put out to the people did not say anything about a note. It simply said that the developer was going there to make his proposal. But I found out since then that they are planning to pass an ordinance. They're writing an ordinance that would give them the right to bypass the zoning.
Who's writing an ordinance?
Right. Yeah.
No, you said they. Who is they?
Cessna. And the developer has devised an ordinance that they want to give to Councilman Kenyatta to pass so that he can bypass the zoning process. Now, I've been working with the people, and I thought I was working with the developer and getting the people to listen to him and what he proposed. The people are willing to listen, but they are opposed to the height that he wants to go to. But he's trying to circumvent them by getting an ordinance passed of giving him everything he wanted. And I told Cessna we should not have a vote tonight because your notice to them did not indicate that there was going to be a vote. However, the notice that was being put out to their supporters said that come out and support this man because we're going to have a vote. Okay? And I was so mad I didn't know what to do. And I got a copy of the letter that was distributed to the people who are not being impacted. My meetings was with the impacted people. That is the people that live within the 2 or 3 block radius that this development is really going to hurt.
Yeah.
I had the developer come down and meet with them. They met with him, they talked with him, and they told him, look, they had no objection to the project so far, but we don't want the height because they live in 2-story block houses.
Yeah.
He's ready to build a 4-story with deck.
Right. That's going to block those houses.
Have a meeting. That's they have a meeting, and they want people to vote so that they can get a vote and say, here, Councilman Johnson, we have all these people who support this project, and we want you to write an ordinance. No. We said no. You should not try to circumvent the zoning process because under the zoning, this land is zoned I-2. I'm not talking fast. I-2, and they want to make it IRMX. I-2 is industrial, light industrial. IRMX is industrial residential mix. Okay? And in order to do that, you have to...
they should have to go to the zoning board to do that.
Yes.
And they're trying to do it so they don't have to go to this. Okay, now I get it.
Right.
Now I get it. Hold on, Ms. Shakumba. Let me get some information from you, see if we can learn a little bit more about this. Hold on, okay?
Also, I had a lot of...
Yeah, you got to hold on, okay?
Go ahead.
Okay, we're going to get to you in a second. Betty from Mount Airy is on line 3. Go ahead, Betty.
I'm so glad that you are back and Jay
Thank you.
is with you.
Thank you.
A couple of things. Number one, as I see Dom supporting, the black community right now, his agenda to me is to eventually be mayor so that he can possibly introduce and pass the 15-year abatement, which is what he wants. Okay, 15 years.
Who are you talking about?
Dome.
Alan Dom?
Yeah, Dom. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's his agenda to me. Okay, because I've heard him say that he thought that we should have a 15-year tax abatement. Okay, so I just want people to be aware of that. The other thing that really concerns me is the way Donald Trump, through Jerry Falwell and all his right-wing followers, are clamming for an extended presidency. And if we're not careful, the United States will be a dictatorship. I think it's moving in that direction.
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. We are going to go to the next caller. Let's go to line 4. Let's go to line 4. Let's go to line 4. Good morning. This is WURD. Who's this?
This is Derek.
Hey, Derek. What's your comment?
Love, peace, blessing, and prosperity. I like to say, Solomon, that I love Africa, but I'm in love with America.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where my known ancestry that I can go back from my great-grandparents. This is where they put their stake in.
Yeah.
This is where I'm a maintain for them and for my generations. That's all I wanted to say. I'm in love with America. I don't like everything.
Yeah.
That's why we got to get out there to vote. That's why we got to fight for what our ancestors laid down the blueprint for.
That's what I'm talking about. Thank you, man. I appreciate your call this morning on WURD Radio. Let's go back to the phone lines, and let's go to line 1. Let's go to line 1. Let's go to line 2. Let's go to line 2. WURD Radio. Who's this?
Sam, Cherry Hill.
Sam from Cherry Hill.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. I can hardly hear. If you're on speaker, can you get on the regular phone?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you a little bit better. Yeah, go ahead. What's your comment?
All right, so I just wanted to express the fact that, right now we have an election going on. It's going to be 2020, and the Democratic Party, when they go on these debate stage, how on earth are they going to separate themselves from, what's going on? I mean, they all agree, they're all in lockstep, and you got an economy that's booming. How on earth is Donald Trump going to be defeated in 2020? That's what I want to know.
I think you make a good point, and I think what has to happen is that somebody has to separate themselves from the crowd, and then the others have to rally around that person very quickly in order for them to do that. When you talk about a booming economy,
they're not talking about any issues.
Yeah, but
they don't talk about any issues.
You asked me how they're going to win. I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah,
So the only way that they can win is that they have to quickly coalesce around a single candidate who has the fundraising ability, who has the charisma, and who has separated himself from the crowd in order to actually challenge Donald Trump on some of those issues. And they have to find an issue that has common ground with everybody and not this stuff that nobody understands.
So one more question for you.
Yep.
So if that's the case, okay, what do you think are going to be the two biggest issues if the Democrats are able to coalesce around a candidate? What do you think will be the two biggest issues the Democrats will need to run on in 2020?
Well, I think one of those issues has to be health care, and I think the other issue has to be not the economy, but how everyone can benefit from the economy. Because what happens is, the economy's good, but people who are at the bottom rung don't see the benefit of that. They have a job, but it's not a great job, right? The people who benefit most are the people at the top. So how do you make it so that everyone can benefit from the economy? Because it's not that way right now.
So, okay, that's fine, and I can respect that answer. But what you got to ask yourself is, when you live in a capitalistic society, there's always going to be people that don't benefit from the economy. And if you look at the job numbers that have been going on, how can you argue against this administration's policy? Now, that doesn't mean that we should never strive to help everyone at all times. I just don't see a specific policy issue that's going to help those people at the bottom go up.
Yeah, I hear you saying we got to go because we're at the end of the show. I hear you, and I think that for me, as a person of color, it's not just about the fact that, you have an economy and I have a job. I'm doing well. I've worked hard. And there are many other people like me who are doing well and have worked hard. But I need to know that when I am stopped by a police officer that I'm going to survive that encounter. I need to know that when I go into a government office that I'm going to be treated like everybody else. I need to know that if I live in specific neighborhoods that I can have access to capital like everybody else. And so for me, Sam, the issues might be a little bit different than they are for you. So, I hear you. But again, it goes to whether or not everyone can benefit. One of the things Donald Trump promised when he was elected was that coal was going to come back. Now, he knew coal wasn't going to come back. He promised that people in West Virginia and in Appalachia and in many of these areas where the people are poor, and they don't look like me. He promised that they would do better. Well, that's not really the case. And so we have to, I think, look to a person who is going to do something that is going to benefit everyone and not just the people at the top. How does that happen? I don't know, but we will see. That's going to do it for our show today on Wake Up with Word. Make sure y'all tune in tomorrow because it's going to be hot just like it was today. I want to thank all of our guests who joined us this morning: mayoral candidate Anthony Hardy Williams, Congressman Dwight Evans, and political commentator Jay McCalla. And I want to thank you, everybody who called in on today's show. And remember, God bless each and every one of you. And on behalf of super producer Kawesa Mathis, I want all of you to tune in tomorrow at 7 for Wake Up with Word. Peace.
Vital Signs, Wednesdays on Reality Check with Charles Ellison, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. right here on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Streaming live on WordRadio.com.
Hi, I'm Cody Anderson in support of the re-election of Philadelphia Sheriff Joel Williams. I've known Joel for over 40 years. I've watched him grow and develop from a community activist to a state representative to the sheriff. I know him to be a man of integrity, honesty, and commitment to serving the people of Philadelphia, not his own self-interest. In Joel, what you see is what you get. He's not a showboat, he's the real deal. He's making positive change in the Philadelphia Sheriff's Office. Tuesday, May 21st, vote to re-elect Democrat Sheriff Joel Williams. Push button number 53.
Paid for by Citizens for Joel Williams, and I am Joel Williams, and I approve this message.
Do you find yourself straining or getting headaches while on the computer? Are you squinting or moving that restaurant menu further back to read it more clearly? Enough is enough. It's time for your annual eye exam, and Eye Innovations in Drexel Hill and Philadelphia is where to get it. Take back control of your vision and health and schedule your comprehensive eye exam today. Book online at eyeinnovations.net or call 610-446-3939. Mention this ad and receive 10% off your next complete pair of glasses.
Are you stressed from work and daily life? Are you lacking the confidence to become the person you want to be? Do you want to take your healthy lifestyle to the next level? If so, let's work together. Hello, I'm Halana, your resident self-care strategist. 14 years ago, I started my very own wellness journey, and since then have been able to help hundreds of people to regain control of their lives through yoga, meditation, and plant-based